You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio. WZYE 95.9 FM.
Could we rise again as a nation?
What do you mean, could we rise again as a nation?
Okay, because the state of the country.
What do you mean by the state of the country? I don't understand that. Explain me.
Right, the country have plenty money.
Plenty money?
Yeah.
How you know that? So you have to tell me I have a child. Tell me now. How you know that? Gentlemen, thank you for the day. I can't really understand that.
Oh mama, oh yo. My nation is giving, prophecy unfolding, judgment is coming. I love you still, mommy.
When will it end? Tell me, how did we come this way?
Oh my Trinidad and Tobago.
Whilst the nation still hope and pray, the devil busy, I say.
Oh my Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh no, I'm feeling the pain for you, mama. Revelation strikes at your corner. Still we are holding on. Your children have lost their way, fighting for survival each day. Oh no, going from dawn till dawn. What is happening to my country? Every day is a sacrifice. Blood flowing like water daily. Lives could be lost at any price. The anthem is now a whisper. Some don't care to stand when it play. The lawless is now in control, so the good folks going away. Oh, my Trinity, strange signs all around we are. The hills are alive in a different way. Your babies are dying, brutally I'm seeing here. Would we rise again, come what may? Yeah. Oh, the mighty dollar, now cast a spell of uncertainty.
Oh, my Trinidad and Tobago.
You see, when the rich is getting richer, the poor must remain empty.
Oh, my Trinidad.
Know that error.
And Tobago.
I say, oh no, people balling for pain and hunger, inflation, cost of living higher. Can't get no daily bread. So the youth them on top the hill, somehow their bread basket don't fill. Oh no, so they turn to crime instead. The arms of the state disappointed, still their salaries are daunted. Large increase in the fiscal budget, oil money reach a all-time high. Don't buy no jet for so much of money when the hospitals are in need. Poor people at everyone's mercy, so the hill reacting indeed. Oh no, yeah, the people cry, yeah. The hills are alive in a different way. Them who take in we money must pay for it daily one day. Could we rise again, come what may? Yeah. How could we truly excel in the midst of all this suffering?
Oh my Trinidad.
No.
And Tobago.
Tell me, like Shadow said, poverty is hell, so it seems like the devil is king.
Oh my Trinidad.
Oh my Trinidad.
And Tobago.
No. Cocaine and guns in the heart of the ghetto is what we sow, we shall reap tomorrow. Who are we going to blame? Even school children doing crime, well, that is a sign of the time. Oh, my Lord, have we now gone insane? Whilst we kill, we own one by one. Skyscrapers going up in town. Chinese laborers at the core. This new city some shall see no more. So we have to hold on to CPEP 10 days and must to get along. Scraping the bottom of the barrel with all this money in town. Oh yeah. My Lord, the hills are alive in a different way. You have to do more for the people. Better wages to ease we struggle. Yeah. Could we rise again, come what may? Yeah. In this abundance of wealth, still the poor people cannot cope. Oh my Trinidad and Tobago, it is a stark reality. So much have given up hope.
Oh my Trinidad,
oh my Trinidad,
and Tobago.
oh my, oh no. Some turn to vagrants in the city, homeless children begging have mercy, Lord. Child abuse have risen again. Look like Jean and Dinah come back in tongue. The girls and them singing the song. To survive by any means necessary, dignity gone down the drain. Some say the leaders have failed to do right for one and for all. When there is an imbalance of the scale, then the writing is on the wall. If you ignore the plight of the people, well, the devil shall intervene. It's only divine intervention. I hope you know what I mean. Well, is it true that God is a Trinity with all these crimes in sweet La Trinity? No. The hills are alive in a different way.
Population gone, run control, drug control.
And is it true we have all this money in this land of so much poverty? No. The Lord is my shepherd, come what may, yeah. To you the powers that be, hear the cries of the people you see. All this wealth and nothing for we. No. The cost of living is too high. This little money the poor can't buy. Oh my, why? There must be a way. To help the people today, I say. There must be a way. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. From Genesis to Revelation, in my Father's house are around many mansions. To take care of one churches and natural resources in this provision. To feed this nation, we have oil and gas, it's lake and mass, and calypso, chutney and limbo. Where there is no poverty, and no decline naturally, then we could live in harmony. My holy land, I love you.
Just as a note, Dr. Williams, we already see in the background. Bear with us a few minutes, okay? Bear with us a few minutes. Thank you.
Nothing must stop you, yes. When God bless a man, Satan may attack you, yes. When God bless a man, he's gonna back you, yes. When God bless a man, that man must stand, he must stand AI. Who God bless, none can curse. His divine favor man can reverse. Even if they do their worst. When God bless a man, nothing must stop you, yes. When God bless a man, Satan may attack you, yes. When God bless a man, he's gonna back you. Yes. When God bless a man, that man must stand. He must stand, I say. If you answer his call, he will lift you up. If you fall, hey, hey, hey. If you fall, just give him your all, hey. When God bless a man, should be the body. Nothing must stop you, my friend. When God bless a man, Satan may attack you. Yes. When God bless a man, he's gonna back you. Yes. When God bless a man, that man must stand. He must stand, I say. Yes. When your soul needs some restoring, Oh, Jesus, cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me. Cover me home from evils unknown. Cover my feet so I'll never retreat. Oh Lord, cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me. Cover my brother, cover my sister, them who under pressure. Cover the preacher, every church worker, the young believer. Cover the worship leader and intercessor, every gospel minister. Cover. Jesus alone is the one who has the real answer. The one on the throne is the true and loving Father. He will hold your hand and keep you from going under. He will make you stand and let you know he's a fixer. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me. Cover me mind. You know the struggle sometimes. Cover me mouth, that the wrong thing wouldn't come out. Oh Lord, cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me. Cover the Christian in the midst of aggression with the power of your right hand. Jesus, cover them helpless children. Jesus, defend them. Send help from heaven. Jesus, cover all them radio stations that blessing the nation. Grant divine protection. Jesus, cover me.
Truer words were never spoken. The less you associate with some people, the more your life will improve. Anytime you tolerate mediocrity in others, it increases your mediocrity. An important attribute in successful people is their impatience with negative thinking and negative acting people. As you grow, your associates will change. Some of your friends will not want you to go on. They will want you to stay where they are. Friends that don't help you climb will want you to crawl. Your friends will stretch your vision or choke your dream. Those that don't increase you will eventually decrease you. Consider this. Never receive counsel from unproductive people. Never discuss your problems with someone incapable of contributing to the solution, because those who never succeed themselves are always first to tell you how. Not everyone has a right to speak into your life. You are certain to get the worst of the bargain when you exchange ideas with the wrong person. Don't follow anyone who's not going anywhere. With some people you spend an evening. With others, you invest it. Be careful where you stop to inquire for directions along the road of life. Wise is the person who fortifies his life with the right friendships. If you run with wolves, you will learn how to howl. But if you associate with eagles, you will learn how to soar to great heights. A mirror reflects a man's face, but what he is really like is shown by the kind of friends he chooses. The simple but true fact of life is that you become like those with whom you closely associate, for the good and the bad. Note, be not mistaken. This is applicable to family as well as friends. Yes, do love, appreciate, and be thankful for your family, for they will always be your family, no matter what. Just know that they are human first, and though they are family to you, they may be a friend to someone else and will fit somewhere in the criteria above. In prosperity, our friends know us. In adversity, we know our friends. Never make someone a priority when you are only an option for them. If you are going to achieve excellence in big things, you develop the habit in little matters. Excellence is not an exception. It is a prevailing attitude.
Yes, 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 yes. Let me say a special hello to all the WZYE 95.9 FM listeners. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, it's in the village with the DAT Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. And we come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. That's Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. And as we always say, ladies, in the village with the DAT Triplets, we originate, we don't imitate. We welcome all individuals, no matter what color t-shirt you wear. Wear a purple t-shirt, a mauve t-shirt, a burgundy t-shirt, you're welcome. Doesn't matter what planet you're from. You're from Mazatanians, Xenoranians, Venorians. You're welcome in the village with the DAT Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. Let me add 1/3 of the DAT Triplets, no other than Diana, Waveney, Stormy, The Storm, Benskin, Greta, the Bajan, the Trin Bagonian, the poet, the poetess from St. Aug's Government School in St. Augustine,
From
Waveney,
who?
Benskin, McDonald boy. Welcome.
You see me? I go and take that thing that you just played through the heart. Truer words were never spoken. The less you associate with some people, because you forgetful, you know. So I don't want people to think I forgetful.
No Sachs,
But
St. Augustine Government High School, right?
good night, villagers. How everybody doing? I'm here nursing an earache, so my face is a little swollen. All right. It's cold, but I ain't agreeing with you, girl.
Sad.
I should be in the Caribbean.
Okay.
Me ain't able with this cold at all.
Let me say welcome to no other than Thomas E., the commissioner in Newark, Marshall Nisbet from Salibe or Salibia, Toko in the country, Marshall Nisbet, boy.
Well, I'm happy to be here. I hope nobody here coming for me though. How's my village family today?
Yeah, yeah. Everything copacetic, man. So let me do quickly. We already have our first guest in the background, Dr. Allison Williams. So let's quickly get this thing out of the way so we could bring our guests in, because our guests have been waiting patiently for us. You know what I like about Tobagonians, you know? Tobagonians are very patient people. They are more patient than Scarborough General Hospital. That is the hospital, the Scarborough.
All Tobagonians except Watson Duke.
But if we ain't talking about no politics, you're bringing Watson Duke into the fair already. Yeah.
Watson ain't gonna want me in his constituency no more.
No, Watson Duke is in my father constituency. You know, he's the assemblyman from my father constituency. But anyhow, let me don't waste too much time. Let me quickly get these superlatives out there. Of course, in the village tonight, first was no other than Takesha. Takesha, welcome. Takesha says, Diana the Storm. She gave you plenty emojis, Diana. Tommy, you get a lot of blue emojis. God, Takesha increasing the emojis, boy.
Thank you, Kish.
Yeah, look, I'll tell you, boy, Takesha using her left hand very well, boy.
How many emojis you get? What?
Yeah. Anytime you see, you get that much emojis, that many emojis, she usually left hand. Anyone see that? You know what I mean? she usually right hand is a different story. Yeah, Takesha say hello to Lana, Rose, Carice, Mauricia, Miss Coover, Joan, Erica, John. She also say hello to Albert, Vonnie, Ellis, Raj, Ulrich, Kylie, Troy, Chris, Tropics, Daryl, Rennie, Ken, Capiza. Takesha, don't forget Arjun, Arjun too. Right. She say only love, no room for hate or negativity, just love in the village.
Hey, that's a true sweet.
Yeah, boy. All it, you know, Dr. Love creeping up, boy. Dr. Love, Rennie Mohammed said, good evening, brothers and sisters. Good love is all I bring. He creeping up, but he comes second 2 days in a row now, you know.
Hey, watch out.
Hey, look, Highly coming third, boy. The male starting to do things. All right, keep it there. Yeah, Nadia, good night to you as well. Nadia is in the house. Nadia. Highly. Judy, welcome. Yeah, boy. Judy say good night. Anselm, Donna and Tommy, welcome back again. Yeah, back again. So let's
Yes, Jude.
get
Thank
our
you.
first guest. Let's bring in our first guest here in the village with the DAT Triplets and WZYE 95.9 FM. Let me wait for them to come back in.
Oh dear.
The, the emoji, the thing, so we could bring them in as Dr. Aaliyah Williams. Allison Williams, my bad. Dr. Allison Williams. Okay, let's bring them in and see what happens. Here you go. Dr. Allison, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty all right.
We wanna apologize to you for being you are very patient. You have to be from Tobago. Tobagonians are very patient people. If it was that Trinidadian, they don't go on long time. Trinidadians don't wait for nothing. The only thing Trinidadians wait for is a storm coming or if a flood coming. When the storm or flood coming to wash away everything, they would say, if I only knew that storm was going to be that bad, I would have to do things that they tell us to do before the storm or the flood comes. That's how Trinidadians are. But anyway, tonight we have with us Dr. Allison George Williams, PhD. Allison George Williams was born in Canaan, Tobago in 1957. He pursued his dream of becoming an engineer by attaining his first degree at the University of the West Indies in 1979. He went on to acquire his master's in civil engineering from the University of New Brunswick in Canada. Finally, he attained a PhD in engineering at the University of Roorkee, India.
Roorkee.
Roorkee.
You have to roll your tongue, sir.
Oh, Roorkee.
Roorkee.
Yeah, like rookie when you're like it's something like in sports when your first year is a rookie.
Right.
Yeah. I get it. I know rookie in here. Allison is a very industrious and has spent most of his life engaged in development of major infrastructure projects throughout the country, especially in road and air transportation, as well as accommodation for public organization. He's generally a positive thinker and has a passion for sharing knowledge and encouraging excellence in young people. He has been the donor of many prizes to students of the schools he attended. He's currently employed at the University of Trinidad and Tobago as the engineer responsible for the development of the main campus of the University of Wallerfield. He's also currently a sitting judge on the Environmental Commission of Trinidad and Tobago, a superior court that sits on environmental matters in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, our esteemed guest, welcome, Dr. Williams. How are you doing this fantabulous day?
Thank you very much. And thank you for inviting me to the village.
Yeah, when people come into the village, this is a program we have had started about maybe over a year ago. And this program started basically when we had exiled and stranded citizens of Trinidad and Tobago here in the diaspora. And we have continued on to bring on people to talk to the diaspora about things that are going on back in Trinidad and Tobago. So when you as an engineer and we talk about infrastructure in Trinidad and Tobago, I left Trinidad and Tobago in 1977, July 4th, 1977. And when I left, there was flooding. Anytime rainfall in Port of Spain, it flood. Right? That was about 45 years ago. And in 2022, when maybe a minute of rainfall, I'm exaggerating here, there's floods in Port of Spain. And people say, well, it's global warming and it's climate change. I want to think, and I'm asking you the question, is it more than just global warming and climate change why there's so much flooding in Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, I would say yes. Over the years, we have not really paid much attention to the way we receive rain and the way we harness the water that comes from the rain in order not to cause problems for people who are in the low-lying areas. So while the rain is falling, those people who are living in low-lying areas will experience flooding, and we need to, rather than depend on the natural gradients and contours of the land, we need to move the water at a faster pace. And the only way we could do that is to pump the water to sea level. We don't have much pumping taking place in the country. So there's always going to be flooding. And the flooding became worse, particularly this year, because rain fell almost continuously each day. And when the soil is already deluged with water from previous rainfall, then, as you said, if the rainfall is for just 1 minute, there will be flooding because there's no space in the earth for absorption. So the water will fall on the earth's surface and will flow immediately via streams and natural streams on the contour and flood the lower lying areas.
Now, we talk about your expertise, so to speak, with respect to road and air transportation, right? Is Trinidad is becoming the capital of potholes, right? And what could be done? Because anytime there's a lot of rain and it flood, that water is kind of weakening the road. And then when those contractors put on road, instead of them put it down 3/4 inch, they might put it down 1/4 inch. So they come back a year later and after we do it again and get more money. Right? You could correct me if I'm wrong about that. But what it is are we doing in Trinidad to fix the road, the traffic, right? And so many potholes all across the country. What could be done?
Well, first of all, there's a deficiency in the amount of funding that the government provides for maintenance. The thing is that we have observed over the years that maintenance is not one of those glorified items of work which must be done. Attention is given to more development projects where new roads are built or new expansive work is done. So, we have cutting of the ribbons and so on that takes place by the politicians to signal that they have made a significant improvement. But one of the things that we need to pay more attention to by providing adequate funding is maintenance. Whether it is maintenance of roads, maintenance of equipment, maintenance of people through adequate training, we need to pay more attention to that. And I believe that the competition that exists in the system, in the country, that government must distribute the funding that it has, causes the politicians to look more favorably at those areas where they may get more marks from the population. But one of those areas that they're getting low marks is in transport, because you always see people on the television, on the media, burning tires and begging for action on roads that are really dilapidated, and you don't get the kind of response that is required from the government or from the local government. And the local government is actually in between a rock and a hard place, because they complain that the government does not give them adequate funding to fix the local roads. And the government itself falls where it comes to the main roads, the highways, which are done by the Ministry of Works. So those are some of the problems that we have. And then when we have the flooding that took place 2 months ago, it makes the infrastructure weak. Dismantle the infrastructure in many areas, and the fix now has to become more expensive and more expansive in order to correct the problems, to return us to a better state of affair.
No, we have been using this example here in the village because a lot of us live in the United States of America. In that, when there's going to be a snowstorm in this country, any one of these states, 5 hours before the snowstorm even reach, even before half a snow pelt drop on the ground, right? They have about 100 or so trucks on the highways waiting to take care of business as soon as the first snow pelt drop on the ground, right? Why can't we do something similar to that in Trinidad when we know rain there's gonna be a certain amount of rain, that we put things in place, right? So if there's any flooding, we can immediately get into action.
No, well, I think you're using the wrong example to compare. We don't have snow here. So tell me what they do in the United States to prevent flooding, whether it is in Florida or any other state for that matter, Texas, what they do when rain is falling to prevent flooding.
Well, here what they do. Yeah. In Canarsie, for example, a few years ago, they had a big storm, a big storm, and most of the places in Canarsie flooded out. People lose their home, they lose their car, everything. What Canarsie did is they built like a plant, and I went and see the plant. And what they do, they pump water, right, from the rivers in. They have these big tanks. They pump it there, right? And when the tide goes back down, they pump it back out. And for all the years now, there haven't been any flooding in Canarsie. As a matter of fact, I brought a person from the government in Trinidad and Tobago and took them to show them exactly what they do. And it's unbelievable. Unbelievable what they do. And there's been no flooding. No, let me not say no flooding. But anytime there's any type of flooding, it is easily maintained and it doesn't go to the level that it was back in those days. And I brought the person for them to see it. Maybe they could implement this in Trinidad and Tobago, but they didn't do anything about it.
Right. So I opened my statement by indicating to you that we need to install more pumps.
Right.
Because we need to get rid of the water on land in the low-lying areas before more comes in to those areas to carry the level of the water to higher heights. I mean, as we saw in Trinidad and Tobago, well, in Trinidad in particular, in Bamboo and Ottawa and Penal and so on, the water really got to higher heights. So I wouldn't really put the water in any tanks because the tanks will eventually fill and you will have no more space to put the water, given the type of rain that we saw over October, November of 2022. My solution would be to pump as much as you can to sea. Before the rain comes, keep pumping the water down to sea so that when the rain does fall, you have capacity in the area where the water will accumulate to hold some water until such time as it is pumped to sea. The sea is a big pond that if you pump water that may be rising 10 feet in a little area, 1 square mile or so, and you put it in the sea, it will only cause a rise in the sea level of a small amount, maybe millimeters, because the sea is expansive, right? So in the meantime, we need to put plans in place to deal with those locations that are flooding more frequently than others, to get the water out, to keep the water down in the water table inside the land space, so that when the rain falls continuously as it did in November and October, November of this year, we will not experience the immediate flooding that takes place, and we will not experience the long duration before the flood subsides, because we would have pumped the water to sea.
Dr. Williams. Oh, go ahead, Tom.
I hear you about the sea situation, but when the tide is high, it seems to be a futile effort even pumping into the sea, because that means that the water is backing up into the land.
No, listen, you don't just pump water to the sea, you build sluice gates that will prevent the water from the sea challenging you inland. So when you have a dam in those locations where the water would be going out, even if there's a high tide, the high tide is not going to be as bad as we may think, because it's the whole sea that you have there now to pump the water to. So you build sluice gates, you build a proper dam that will prevent the water from coming back to you. So even if the water is higher in the sea than the water inland, you can still pump it out to sea and keep the water inland down. It's like what the people in Netherlands and Guyana and so on have to do all the time. They are under sea level, and they have to pump the water out.
Dr. Williams, Ms. Benskin here. How are you doing, sir?
I'm keeping all right, and you?
Good. I'm great. In these challenging times where we hear citizens crying out for lack of water in their districts, their various districts, is it wise or is it not wasteful pumping all that water out to sea when perhaps you should build some sort of holding a dam or something to clean the water and whatever and get it to these households, maybe pump out some? And how about widening the riverbeds, because I understand the riverbeds are clogged, I with people throwing stuff in it and other stuff. So what about widening the river arteries and also harvesting some of that water for those drought-stricken areas? Is that feasible?
The harvesting is another area to hold the water for treatment to provide potable water to the country. That can be done as well, but that will not prevent flooding, because once you harness the water, you will always have your tanks full. The day the rain is falling to flood the place, your tank is already full because you were filling the tanks all the time to keep it for treatment. So having tanks, which is the point I was making when the first host spoke, just having tanks that you would have filled up previous to the flooding that will take place with rain falling continuously wouldn't help you, because your tank is already full. I'm talking about a situation where rain is falling continuously, the area is deluged with water, the whole soil is filled, all the voids in the soil are filled with water right up to the surface, no matter what the contours look like. So up the hill, the soil is full. Down the hill, the soil is full. So there's no space to hold any more water if the rain falls again. What I'm saying is that your tank for potable water is full. The soil is full. So when that water is coming down now and flooding the area, you have to try to get rid of it as early as possible. So let's take, for example, if the rain is falling during the month of October and November as it did this year, it may come again next year. It will come again after next year. When we get to that state, we already have our reservoirs full, we already have our tanks full, and we need to get rid of the water. We can't harness anymore. As it stands right now, the water goes out without it being harnessed, because we don't have the capacity to fill anything.
But Dr. Williams,
rain is falling.
Dr. Williams, all things being equal with what you're saying, we still have water woes in Trinidad that are plaguing the residents.
But these are two different issues, you know. Harnessing water for consumption is a different issue from getting rid of water to prevent flooding.
Now, some of that water that we have to get rid of to prevent flooding, can we use that to resolve some of the water woes that we are having?
Yes, of course we can. So I'm saying once we have the capacity to hold water, we put it in a tank. So it seems what we must do is a simultaneous action by WASA to hold water where it can, and action by the Ministry of Works Drainage Division to get rid of water wherever it accumulates and causes problems for our citizenship. The two have to be done simultaneously.
Also, too, I heard Paris Alwari say, move your structures. I don't know how he expect people to move a 5-bedroom concrete structure, and put it where, I don't know. But can there be tougher policing in the planning department so as to avoid persons putting up structures, where they're more compromised by, heavy rain? Shouldn't there be laws, say, well, no, you can't build here. This is a water courseway. It floods, etc. Because we can't do that in the United States again. And also, too, back to the roads, I'm going to hit you with a twofold question. I pay a road tax in my state. So I hardly ever see a pothole. I'm telling you the truth, in the state I live in, I see my tax dollars going. So they raised it the other day on me. I said, okay, well, the roads are properly maintained, so let me pay my tax, right? So that's another issue. So can we talk about that and about, policing, have stiffer policing in the agencies that would prevent people from putting structures, obstructing water flow, and disposing of their garbage, the wrong way?
So the issue of policing will only take care of people blocking water courses and so on. But people blocking water courses, in my mind, is a small matter in relation to the kind of terrain, the kind of contours, the kind of situation that may exist for many people in the area where they live. The place isn't underwater all the time, The place gets flooded because the water that is falling is coming down faster than it is able to move out to sea. So we have to find solutions to that kind of situation, even if we police the way people build their structures and prevent them from blocking streams and waterways and so on. We would never be able to get rid of people being in flood-prone areas because that is what they have. A person who has a piece of property may have been handed down by his parents, grandparents, as the case may be. It's not so easy to tell him you must move from there and build elsewhere. I lived in India and see people being washed away every year at the delta of most rivers.
But can't
that
they?
Is economically what they could afford. They get their fish, they get their food, and so on from the richness of the soil in a delta. They build on stilts. And even though those situations exist to protect them to a certain extent, people still get washed away in the delta every year in India.
So, but my thing is, in Trinidad and Tobago, can't something be done where, yes, you raise you give a certain height for the edifice that's going to sit in a certain location, but underneath the edifice, under the building, on the ground, make it mandatory that a certain drainage is under there, and they don't put down these walls that make places become like a soup bowl. Then can that be a beginning? Elevate the houses because we anticipate the heavy rains and easy flooding. Make that a law. If you have to be 6 feet off the ground or something like that. And underneath, you have to have drainage to allow water to go on and guide the water into some sort of course way. I don't know. Is that feasible?
Yes, that is feasible. But even if you have that in place, people are going to still make use of the space that is under the building because they perceive that if it floods and they experience the heartache for a week, it's only a week. So I will continue to build, people will continue to build wherever they have space, because building is one of the most expensive experience for any individual living on this earth, So they will want to cut back as much as possible wherever they could cut back. If they have the land already, they cannot afford to go and buy another piece of land up on the hillside. And even if they go and buy a piece of land up on the hillside, that too has its own problem, because you have landslides that can take place on the hillsides. Everywhere you build, there will be challenges, but you have to build in such a way that you protect yourself from some of the disasters that can occur. And I'm saying we have a situation where buildings already exist in many of the areas that are flood prone in Trinidad and Tobago, and therefore we need to do what is required to get the water out to prevent flooding. We can't depend totally on the natural runoff according to the gradients and so on of the areas that are flooding. We need to pump the water faster, and pump the water when the rain is not falling. So when you pump the water out, when the rain isn't falling, there will be capacity there to hold some of the water before flooding takes place.
And I have a question too. How come Trinidad and Tobago have a pitch lake, but the roads in such terrible state? If you're the source of the pitch, you should have beautiful roads. What's really going on?
Well, the truth is, as a person who was responsible for roads in Tobago in my early years, the pitch lake asphalt has never been used as it ought to have been used by the state, because the technology always favored the use of liquid asphalt, which came from the refinery where the oil and so on is being produced. The liquid asphalt is more readily usable. So all the plants in Trinidad and Tobago had been designed to use liquid asphalt. The pitch lake is solid asphalt, which has to be heated in a significant way before it could become usable in the manufacture of asphaltic cement for the roads. So the technology has not been used. It's just like concrete. There are many concrete roads in other places across the globe, but we don't use concrete roads. We hardly use concrete roads because the technology has not been an attractive technology for us.
You mean financially attractive? Because
I'm just saying the contractors who put the plants and so on down, they put the plants down for a technology that they are accustomed to. And they have stuck with that over the years and not looked to change.
Well, they need to change now with the onset of global warming and all the roads dilapidating and crumbling, falling apart, splitting in two. Something got to be done. Because the farmers can't get their things, people can't get to work.
These changes will occur when the ministry who is responsible put those kinds of specifications in their contracts. to force the contractors to use a particular technology. Now, when it is coming on as a new technology, you have to be willing to give the contractor some kind of assistance and so on for him to change to the new technology, right?
Really?
Yeah, of course, because it doesn't make sense for you to put down a plant for a particular technology when the Ministry of Works or those who are responsible for giving work to the contractors, they are not interested in that particular technology. When they write up their specifications and so on, if the specifications are written in a particular way, that is what the contractor has to do. He can't come. He cannot come
be for the betterment of the country and not the contractor.
No. That is before, and that is why I'm saying it is the ministry that has to make those changes. The contractor is not responsible for the specifications that are put out in a tender for him to tender for a job.
And which ministry is that? Which ministry is that? Which ministry is that?
Ministry of Works.
Who is that again, Anselm?
Rohan.
Oh, I thought that was my friend, Gonzalez.
No, you just want to pick.
No, I'll show you something. For many years, we had been paving roads and paving over paving that exists already. Correct. So the roads kept climbing higher and higher by inches per 5-year period or so, because the government always pave roads when elections coming around.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But the ministry introduced the concept of planing, which I saw in Canada and America when I was studying in the 80s. So they introduced it to Trinidad and Tobago, and they are currently planing roads because they specify in the documents that are given to the contractors to tender, they specify that they want the roads planed. So when the road is planed, the material that is taken up is reused in the new asphalt that is being produced. So the road remains at the same level, even though you have paved the road, because you are planing off the old asphalt that may have failed for one reason or another. Okay? So the specifications put in by the Ministry of Works for contractors to all acquire planers, and they are using them on the highways now. So I'm saying the change could take place, but it has to start with the ministry.
So hold on. All right, yeah. Oh, stay with us a little bit, Dr. Williams. We appreciate you joining us tonight. It's in the village with the DAT Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. Of course, we have with us tonight Dr. Anselm Williams. He is a infrastructural individual, with respect to road and air transportation, as well as accommodation for public organizations. Stick and stay. It's in the village with the DAT Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We come to every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. That's Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. We'll be right back after this short break. Stick and stay.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
Back to it's in the village with the DAT Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We have with us in the village tonight Dr. Anselm Williams. He's from Tobago, and he is a person. He attended University of Roorkee, India, and he's also has some expertise with regards to the development of major infrastructural projects throughout Trinidad.
You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, Maplewood, New Jersey, broadcasting from Essex County.
You are listening to...
I wanted to get back to something real quick. In that, when I spoke about what happened in Canarsie, right, what they do is that they took the water out of the river, so to speak. They pump it out of the river into these tanks. They lower the riverbed. And once the water fills up the riverbed, And after the storm passes and it goes back down, they then repump that water back into the riverbed. Right? That is what I was talking about. I wasn't talking about them. They don't really store the water. They just pump it to lower the riverbed. By lowering the riverbed, that water is not going to overflow its banks and come into Canarsie. And it has really worked, right? So if you think about it, and I agree with you, pumping the water out to sea will make a big difference. But they don't do that now.
Where's Canarsie?
In
on the coast or inland?
It's on the coast. It's on the
coast.
Yeah, it's on the coast.
So somebody, if they're just pumping water in a tank to empty it immediately after the rain stops, why didn't they just pump it to sea?
Well, I guess they did decide to do that, and they see that it worked. So I mean,
listen, where the water goes, in my mind, is really immaterial. I want to pump the water out. If I have the ability to store the water, I will store it.
Right.
If I don't have the ability to store the water, I want to get the water out to sea, because there's where it's going. I'm just hastening the rate at which it moves from inland to its final destination. So if Canarsie could have pumped the water to tanks and hold it during the rainfall and pump it out later on back into the river for it to go to sea, right. I'm saying that is a step that I don't want necessarily to take unless the water is being stored for the production of potable water for public consumption.
Okay.
Somehow in my mind, Dr. Williams and Anselm, I'm thinking the tide is the issue. And when the tide is high, it may seem to be futile to put it into the sea. That's what is in my mind. I'm saying sea level kind of going through my head.
Sea level is the lowest level, and the sea level could hold any volume of water that you may pump from a few acres by rising a few millimeters. It's not going to rise very much higher than a few millimeters, a few inches, as the case may be, because the sea is vast, and it will all settle at the same level across the vastness of the sea.
That makes sense.
What will have to happen is that you must build the necessary dams and sluice gates to prevent the water from going back inland. And that is possible. I use the example of Guyana and the Netherlands, where significant portions of their property is under sea level.
So, Doc, why don't we have the testicular fortitude in Trinidad to go to the Netherlands, see what they're doing, bring an expert from the Netherlands, let them come to Trinidad if they haven't done it, in the past, let them come to Trinidad and say, well, listen, this is what you all need, right? Instead of when a storm come or it rain, then you had to go and you had to now establish $150 million fund, right, to take care of something, right, which is not really taking care of the problem. That's more like a cleanup and to pay people for things that they lose, but the problem's still there.
Yeah. Well, I think after the experience we've had this year, that the thinking will change to do just what I'm suggesting in a broader way, in a more intense way across the country. Because this year's flood would have taught everybody who is involved in drainage and so on in the country some serious lessons, and they need to change their thoughts going forward to address this problem, because it will be occurring again and the frequency is going to be shorter compared to how we experienced in times gone by.
But Doc,
yes,
didn't we have Greenville? Didn't we have Greenville where we had massive flooding over there? That was not a good example for us.
It is a good example, but you see, it was isolated. Mm-hmm. I think the widespread nature of the experience we had in October and November would give the government enough lessons. The government and all the people who are involved in drainage and so on, enough lessons to let them know that they must treat with this differently. But I know I said in part of my presentation that one of the problems that we have is the competition for the limited funds that we have in the state. Because, these ideas that I'm presenting, they're not cheap and they are not solutions that can occur overnight. There are heavy infrastructure that must be put in place to solve the problem, but it is required. But it is required in the context of all the other issues where we have challenges, whether it is in education, is in health, in agriculture, you name it. I mean, even water, the main thing to allow people to exist is to have water. And WASA cannot up to today present people with water 24/7.
But Doc, here what I find,
Yeah.
I find the priorities are misaligned. And here is why.
Right.
You will spend, not you, the government will spend $500 million on the Red House. Right? $500 million. Okay? Another few millions on the Prime Minister residence. Another few millions on the President residence. Another few millions on the Prime Minister house in Tobago. How does that, spending close to $1 billion on those edifices or whatever you want to call them, help the people of Trinidad and Tobago when come to health, infrastructure, or crime? How does that help them? I'm just asking.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So I made the point that the government, the politicians like to cut ribbons and so on, and usually will tend to fund those kinds of projects that have a significant show, presentation, and so on, as against maintenance. So I think what happens is that the government decides who in the country gets priority and who doesn't. And they put the funds where they believe priority is required to serve those persons who they want to serve. I mean, let us use transportation as an issue, right?
I like how you put that nicely.
I want to use transportation as an issue. The bus transportation of Trinidad and Tobago is designed to serve the lesser economic persons in the country, and it is the worst. It has always never been able to facilitate those persons adequately in any area, whether it is close to Port of Spain and San Fernando and Scarborough, or it is away from those three towns, cities, as the case may be. So we have transportation being provided for people to fly and so on, and the government will buy aircraft and charge people for using the aircraft, not necessarily economically, although recently, that the price of travel between Trinidad and Tobago has gone up by $50, right? The boat is also increased. But the point I'm making is that the lesser of the persons in the economic ladder usually do not get the kind of attention that they deserve. And the government is prepared to live with the negative aspect of those circumstances as they continue to do what they perceive to be major and important and critical to the nation.
So here what Judy says. Judy says, citizens just taking land and building anywhere, anyhow, without any proper planning and infrastructure. Imagine people building on swampland that was for agriculture, not building mansions. What do you say about that?
No, that is going on, yes, but not all citizens are doing that.
Right.
And even if a person builds in a swampy area, they are not causing the floods. The floods are coming in, and the water is coming from higher up and not able to go out at the rate at which it is coming in. A person who builds a property in a pond doesn't cause the flooding. You know. The flooding is caused because water in is faster than water out, so flooding takes place.
So that is like in accounting we are LIFO. That is we were water in, water out.
Thanks for understanding how you could put it in a way that people will understand.
Yeah. LIFO, or FIFO, first in, first out. You know?
Yes.
Water in, water out. Right? Correct. Right. Now, to your point, right? And Judy seemed to think a little different. She said human is their very own destruction. They're the ones that cause flooding by their very own behavior. You are saying otherwise, right? It's not, they might be a small fraction of the cause.
Yes.
Right? But they're not a major part of the cause for flooding.
No, they're not. They are not. If we only focus on people building in the flood-prone area as the problem, we will never solve the problem. I'm not saying that there are not people who do things that discourage the rate of flow of the water out, right? There are people who do things like that. But that is not the focus. That is not the real problem. There are places that you live in for 11 months that you don't see anything flooding, and 1 month comes and you get flooding, right? So the issue is to really understand how the water is coming in and how you want it to get out to allow the persons who are living in those areas. And it is not one person, you know, it's a whole village, it's a whole development, some of which the government themselves put in place. We need to get rid of the water fast enough to prevent the flooding from taking place. And if we get rid of it today, there will be capacity for when the rain falls tomorrow to hold some water before it floods. And as it continues to fall and present an inflow, we keep pumping it out so that it doesn't flood.
Now, here's another point, right? You talk about part of what you do is road and air transportation, right? Like, for example, people say, people only compare Trinidad to the United States conveniently, right? When they want to compare something, right? Maybe if it's something good in Trinidad and happening bad in America, they make a comparison, right? But when something good happening in America and you compare it to Trinidad, tell you, well, Trinidad too small, So here it is now. When you leave New Jersey, I live in New Jersey, I could go over the Brooklyn Bridge, right? I could go over the Manhattan Bridge. I could go over the Williamsburg Bridge. I could go over the Verrazano Bridge. I could go over the Kosciuszko Bridge. I could go over all these bridges to go to certain places that I want to go, right? So even if there's flooding at the bottom underneath, I could still go above and go to a place that I need to go. How come we haven't decided in Trinidad and Tobago to go up as far as highways are concerned?
That is not true. There are places that you could go over a bridge. Grand Bazaar has places that you have to go over.
Yeah, but talking
high above the water.
Talking about a length, a certain length, like about a few miles.
Yeah, but when you go over a bridge like Manhattan and Brooklyn and all these bridges that you call, you're going over a river.
Yeah, I know that.
Right, so we have bridges.
Over the Caroni River, right? We could go over the Caroni River, right?
Right, so we have bridges to go over the Caroni River.
Which
the bridge that we have going over the Caroni River doesn't flood?
No, which bridge is that? No. Educate me, it's fine.
No. What I'm saying, there are culverts or bridges, you name it, that allow you to go over Caroni River in various points. If you are driving on the Southern Main Road, for example, you have to go over a bridge over the Caroni River, which will not flood.
No,
The Caroni River is a small river compared to you.
Right. I'm not saying bridges will flood. No. I'm saying the philosophy that, for example, if you want to go from San Fernando to Port of Spain, for example, you have certain points, right? You could go straight from, it's like an express then. You know, you could go from one point to the other point, you know, with a highway maybe about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 miles long. Just as an example, right?
But you see, you can't make those comparisons with what you just used, because a highway 5, 6 miles long exists between Port of Spain and San Fernando, but you don't have to go over any large span of water courses the way the rivers that you are talking about in the States are. So you wouldn't have any big bridge like that to cross. The bridge is going to be a small bridge.
We recently saw where to traverse the Caroni River at one point was impossible due to the flooding.
To traverse the river?
To come over, to cross over the river.
Where was that?
Near the Grand Bazaar area, when you heading south, was it? Yeah, they actually had to.
All right, so they had flooding in the Bamboo.
They had to actually convert the northbound lane to both north and south.
Right. Okay. So a lower level, which was built many years ago, was flooding, and the higher level was used for two-way traffic. So what I'm saying is that the expanse of the bridges that you are talking about in the US, we don't need to have those in order to solve the problem. The area that flooded in Grand Bazaar on the lower level of the highway could also be raised like the newer level that was built in recent times at some point in time. So we don't need a long bridge to solve that. We could just raise the level of the road. But bridge is not the issue here. I want to make that clear. Bridge is not the issue. What we have to do is to put designs and infrastructure in place to get the water pumped out while the rain is falling, and before the next tranche of rain comes, we must have the capacity to hold the water and get it out at a rate that is faster than it is coming in. That is what will prevent flooding.
Well, but you know something, right? It seems that government come and government goes, and there haven't been much solutions to the problem. It seemed like that. We are the outside. You will know better because you are there on the ground. It seemed like the things are getting worse, and there are no solutions to try to, help when it happens, that you could get it quickly rectified without having to be a long, maybe 48, 72 hours or more. It just seemed that these things seem to be happening over and over, and the solutions are not forthcoming.
No, that and what the way you put it across is correct. And I'm saying it is because the government needs to put a different kind of priority on these issues, notwithstanding who is being affected by the effects of flooding, right? So there has to be a reorganization, a reanalysis of the circumstances that calls upon the government's purse in order to deal with many of the problems that we face as a society. Not only flooding, even the roads themselves.
Yeah.
Where people burn tires and light up the highway or the particular road because there's a problem. Not just roads, water where people get dirty water because of turbidity and so on. There are many problems to be solved, Many problems to be solved.
I cannot understand something. But before we get to that, is there a lot of flooding in Tobago?
I would say no. There is flooding, but not a lot of flooding.
or not as bad as in Trinidad?
No.
Okay.
In one day the water runs off here.
For my father live in Roxborough and the sea right next door. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You walk across the road and and the sea right next door. And then I'm like, I mean, sometimes you will think that they might, when it's, since we're in this global warming and climate change, they might experience, a significant amount of flooding.
So we have flooding in Scarborough. We have
Right.
flooding in Bonaccord. We have flooding. Roxborough itself, I haven't witnessed much flooding in Roxborough.
Mm-hmm.
The water comes down the river and just runs out. The two rivers that are there.
Mm-hmm.
And before you know it, when you leave the coast, you're going uphill. So there isn't much flat area in most of these places. And Scarborough gets flooded only because the river may come down and bring logs with it, and the channel gets blocked. So those areas on Carrington Street would experience flooding from time to time, but that is because the channel gets blocked, whether it's Cooks River, Darrell Spring River. They get blocked and the water just remains on the road because the water can't get out.
So here's
in those areas, I'm saying we need to put in pumps to pump the water down and let it not get to that point where it will flood the low-lying businesses on Carrington Street.
Right. That and that makes sense because the sea is right there, right?
Yes.
You can more than put pumps. Anytime they want to come, you pump it back out. Right?
Yes.
And that makes a lot of sense.
And I'm saying if you started pumping from the time the rain was falling, you will be keeping the level of the water in the river down to accommodate that which is coming later in time. So you reduce the chance of flooding because you are moving the water out at a rate that is faster than the water is coming in.
But Dr. Allison, let me say this,
Yes.
You see, I have realized in Trinidad and Tobago, if you make too much sense, it doesn't make sense. If you understand what I'm saying. if you make too much sense, it seems like when you make too much sense to people, them think you're not making sense. When you come up with creative solutions to the problems, they think that, nah, that solution too good to be true.
That's too much.
Yeah, that's too much. Let me wait to see what happens first. Let me wait to see if it go flood.
No, well, I lived with that experience during my time as technical officer in the Works division.
Oh, so I'm talking true then.
No, that is a fact. But it is not just a simple case of some people. It may be people who could make a difference, like the politicians who are the ones who decide where funds go and so on. They may not see that which you are talking about as an important and urgent matter for consideration because they have other things in mind that they see as politician that I do not see as a technical person. So I usually, you have to give way to them. They are in charge. Politicians are in charge of the country, whether you like it or not.
Well, no, so, I disagree though. I believe the people are in charge.
The people?
Yeah.
You live in false hope.
Well, I mean, I hear you, but I believe that in many, many countries,
all that the people do is vote for the politicians who will run the affairs of state until the next set comes in. No, after they vote, it is the politician who takes the information from the technical people of all various kinds, the people who they may meet in the villages and the communities, the business people who they meet from time to time, and so on, and they take that information and decide what they will do for the state.
Yes, but
the technical people may have all kinds of suggestions. Let's take, for example, the studies that have been done so many times and in so long a time about mass transit in Trinidad. We have been studying mass transit in Trinidad for years, and we haven't done anything because the politicians don't see that as a practical way to go. And they are involved in it.
Tommy, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I'm saying
The
that because
mass of people could say what they want. They don't have the information to tell the politician, yes, you must build the mass transit, or no, you shouldn't. They are waiting on the politicians to decide what should be done.
but in most of, I know in the first world, in most of our societies out there, the constituents do have a voice as to some of
They
their.
have a voice. Yes, I just said that the politician will meet with them from time to time in the communities. You have a voice, but you don't have the decision making.
No, you don't have the decision making, but
that's the point I'm making.
But you could
But they,
sway the
but they can
politicians.
influence the decision that's being
you
made.
can influence it, and it happened many times. It has happened many times in the town that I've lived in. It have many happened times in other towns that I've lived in, right? And I could give you an example, right? At one time I lived in a town called Maplewood, and they wanted to change an ordinance in order that was going to affect certain people in the community. And the people went to them town hall meetings in mass numbers. Every time that a town hall meeting, people showed up. You know what they do, right?
Change their mind.
There you go. Thank you very much. They change their mind.
Yep.
Because those are the people at the end of the day, you know, and politicians are not, they're smart, you know. They know that those are the voters at the end of the day. And with a tongue like that, they realize, you know what, boy? Or let me leave that alone. And they left it alone. But you see, in Trinidad,
you see the comparison you're giving is not a good analogy. Eh?
Okay.
The comparison you are giving is a case of the politician wanting to do something and the population asking them to pull back. That costs nothing. It's a pulling back.
Yeah,
what we are talking about here is the implementation of infrastructure, which costs, which takes time, which the people must pay for, in comparison to the handouts that politicians are usually willing to give people who think that some of the infrastructure might take too much funds. In fact, you yourself just raised why we should be spending so much money on the Red House, on the Prime Minister quarters, on the Prime Minister residence, on the this, on the that. Some of these things require so much cost that they have to be decided by the politicians. And as you yourself said also tonight, there may be wrong priorities in many of these things because it's not feeding into solving the problems of the masses.
Yeah.
You know, and the example that I gave is a problem of the masses where PTSD is concerned. It is poor people who can't afford to take taxi and go home or buy a car to go home that use the public transport system. But yet the public transport system has its deficiencies. Every year it remains that way.
I find that if in this country sometimes Democratic and Republicans in our community will get together to do things if they believe that their township, which is the government, is not doing what's best for the community. Democrats and Republicans will get together. I'm not sure in Trinidad if PNM people and UNC people will get together to do something or to make a point for the betterment of Trinidad and Tobago. Because
hardly do we see that.
Hardly
do we see that.
Right. One trying to make the other one look bad.
Yeah. You know? As a matter of fact, I think we are in a state right now that has caused the mass of the population to have lost confidence in politicians. Because the PNM talks the UNC bad, and the UNC talks the PNM badly. So as a person looking on from the community at the behavior and the utterance of politicians, you will be left wondering, well, who should I put in place if the people on both sides are not to be trusted? If the people on both sides do things that are inimical to my existence, what am I voting for them for? Because they criticize each other so badly that you can't have confidence in either side. So they are destroying the whole political arena that we depend upon for our existence.
Well, you preach there, you know. I ain't telling nothing. you preach there because that's what I see. And at the end of the day, you know, I tell people, even if I support a party and I am seeing things that are happening that appears to be not about the country, but appears to be about party, you know, you have to speak up. Martin Luther King says your life ends the day you remain silent about things that matter. You know, and I take that very, very personally. I take that quote personally. If I'm going to support you and I'm supporting you and you're doing for the betterment of the country, you have my 200% support. But if you are doing things and it's just for the betterment of certain people, I have to ask questions. But there are some of us who wants is my party, or I support this party. I supposed to follow lock, stock, and barrel with whatever they tell me. If they come and tell me the sky green, I supposed to say, yes, the sky green, right? Because you just supposed to follow along. But Frederick Douglass also says, power concedes nothing without a demand. You know, so Dr. Allison, all of this is to say, we need some solutions for the betterment of Trinidad and Tobago, right? And it doesn't appear that if the politicians are bringing us these solutions, right? I'm saying it doesn't appear that, you know. So who do the people of Trinidad and Tobago turn to?
Well, you know, while we're asking the question about Trinidad and Tobago, I am observing that this challenge is a global problem. There are many countries where people have lost confidence in politicians. And you are sitting in the States, and I don't think that you are much better in the States where politicians are concerned. Look at what happened over the last 4 years. You know, at the end of that 4-year period, we see things are in a mess.
That's why we get rid of it.
And it looks as though it will not stop.
We fix that.
Yeah, that's why we were to fix that. We fix it. If it's one thing, if it's one thing in this country, right? If we see something ain't working with the politicians and them, don't care whether it's a Democrat or a Republican, right? You're gone.
No, the same thing happens here too.
Yeah.
The only thing you could do is to change who is there.
I wouldn't say
we do change people. We do change the people who are there from time to time here in Trinidad and Tobago.
I like how you say from time to time.
That is what democracy is all about. If you find that the people who are there are not working to suit you, you change them. Even though they may have been there before and you didn't like them, you could put them back another time. But right now we don't like them, so we have to change them.
Yeah, but we recycle.
Nobody ever perceived that the PDP would have won the PNM by the kind of margin that they won at the last election, because the PNM appeared as though they were there to stay. But they made the errors, and the PDP came in and offered people an opportunity to move the PNM. And the PDP may be moved again in the next election. You know, you never know. So we do the same thing here too.
We do more recycling than the politicians do.
I am not sure about that. Why are you saying that? Biden has been a politician for donkey's years. He's still there. Pelosi only moved because her time up. So you recycle the same way we recycle here. Some stay for a long time, and some move out very quickly.
Yeah, but once up here, once you're elected, you go on a platform and you don't deliver, you feel the brunt of the voters, or you go contrary, or you want to come up with some kind of weird agenda toward a certain. No, we
No,
respond
madam,
in the polls.
I'm saying do not sell yourself more than is necessary. We change the politicians here too. We do change our politicians here too.
How many? We have term limits?
5 years.
No, there are no term limits there. I mean, you can go run and run again. That's what we meant.
But I'm saying there are politicians in your Congress, in your Senate, who sit there forever.
But the president cannot.
President
well, it's only the president is like that. So
right.
Our prime minister.
We saying the same thing for prime minister, you know that.
Our politicians here change unless they vote for the prime minister to remain there.
And that is
anyway,
why
that's beside the point. We're talking about infrastructure, right?
But that's part of infrastructure too. Okay.
All right, the personal infrastructure,
so
right?
So that's political infrastructure.
That's personnel infrastructure, yeah.
You see, one thing I know for myself, passing through the system, is that the politician is the one that is in charge. I, as a technical person, would have made recommendations for many things to be done during my time in office, whether I was in the Airports Authority or I was at Works Division or at UTT, as the case may be. And many of those recommendations may not have been implemented for various reasons that the politicians who are in charge may have seen that I wasn't seeing. And even if they may have come up with other suggestions or other options for moving things forward, they may have stumbled and so on and had to correct. And we just have to move with them. You know, I believe that when we vote people into office, that the country and the people should move up from the ladder or the rung of the ladder on which they sit. So there should be an upward movement of the people combined collectively all the time. You know, so we shouldn't make things difficult for the people through our politicians who are representing the people.
Boss, I hear you, boss.
Yeah.
That's why a man say you should go back to Colport and ride bicycle. you coming and trying to go in nice this year, or stop eating macaroni pie and ham.
Yeah, go back to green fig and saltfish.
Yeah, I mean everybody want everything for free. You understand? You gain everything free, but you going and tell people, everybody, not some people, you know, everybody want everything for free. You understand? And the next one telling people who's suffering, all you greedy because they're getting a food card. You know? And that's we politicians. And anyway, but we're not talking about that. We're not getting into politics. We want to talk about infrastructure, road, and air transportation. So let me get back to that.
So another part of the infrastructure which was affected badly by the recent floods would have been the East Coast Road, Manzanilla, Mayaro. Right? The road is at the sea level. And because of the weight of the flooding, the road was ripped up in many areas where the water crossed from inland over to sea. So close to the Ottawa River and so on, you had serious problems. So in a situation like that, I'm saying that we need to redesign the roadway such that we build we build vertical sections that will protect the road. So rather than just rest the road on the sand that is there off the coast of the sea, we need to build walls that will protect the road so that when the water rushes across the road because there's too much coming down for the river to hold, then the asphalt would not just raise up and find itself on the side of the road and we have no road. So we need to build vertical sections that will protect, as a wall that will protect the road infrastructure and prevent it from being washed away easily by water that is coming either from
Dr.
Yes.
What about the substructure of those roads? Are they adequate?
Well, that's the point I'm making. The wall is a substructure that is required because of what we experienced this year. Now the roads have been there and have never been washed away before, but they are at lower level. And this, as I said, what we saw here in 2022 will continuously be repeated as we go down the road. So I'm saying we need to rethink how we design the road at sea level, because it's going to be flooding every year as the rains fall with the intensity and the frequency that we witnessed this year.
Now, we see that many of the roads are built where they just do the compaction and pave the road. Instead of what we experience them doing here is making the substructure with BRC and concrete and then putting the asphalt on the road or blacktop or however you want to describe it on the roadway.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that approach?
Well, I just mentioned earlier that we do not have the technology of existence. So the Ministry of Works could make those changes and request the contractors to put in concrete before they put in asphalt and so on in the road structure that they would have designed. But in my mind, it isn't absolutely necessary. Asphalt roads have a certain amount of flexibility that concrete roads do not have. And concrete roads could break up just as much as asphalt roads could be broken up. You just have to do all that is required to make sure that your design can carry the loads and the frequency of the traffic that will be upon it. So we need to design better standard roads for every tree that we want to put across the country, whether it is highway, main road, streets in the communities, or agriculture access roads, as the case may be. We need to put in more effort and better designs, better construction practices to make sure that the roads will withstand whatever it must over the period of time. I mean, we built Claude Novel Highway in the 1980s. Claude Novel Highway has not broken up in any way. There may have been some rough areas.
That's Tobago.
Wherein, huh?
That's Tobago.
Okay, but I'm speaking from my experience.
No, I just telling you, Trinidad is a little different.
No, but while that may be so, what I'm saying is it could be done. Tobago is part of the country.
Oh, absolutely,
right?
absolutely. I agree. So Dr. Allison, here was Judy says, Dr. Allison, I don't think it have proper engineering companies that design roads and bridges in Trinidad and Tobago. Really don't know what they're doing. Look at Mosquito Creek, how it's underwater now. What do you say?
How it's underwater?
Well, I think I don't know. She said
no, I don't think Mosquito Creek is underwater.
Well, or the water overflowed banks then.
The water may have overflowed.
Yeah.
Because of the amount of water that came down, and that is the point I was making, that we need to pump the water out. So what I just said still holds, whether it is down Mosquito Creek, or it is in Caroni, or it is in Ottawa. We need to pump the water out, keep the water down when the rain isn't falling, move the water out so you have some capacity. When the rains come down, you have capacity to hold water even while you're still pumping to get the water out. So the flooding will be minimized. In fact, you may not have any flooding at all as long as you design the pumps adequately.
Dr. Williams, I have a question for you. Now, there's talk about bringing electric vehicles to Trinidad and Tobago, right?
Yeah.
With the road network system, with the propensity for flooding, you think that's a good idea to bring electric vehicles to put in a soup bowl?
No, hold on. The vehicles don't have to stay in any soup bowl, you know. There's only a few places that flood, you know, not the whole country. The whole country doesn't flood.
Yeah, but
and the vehicles will go in the soup bowl only if the driver drives the vehicle there.
But Dr. Williams,
yes,
I'm not an expert on electric vehicles. I have a hybrid vehicle. When you drive these electric vehicles, you have to set up charging stations for them, eh?
Yeah.
So it is possible that a charging station could be slated for an area that is easily flooded.
So listen, it isn't going to be the only charging station. There are going to be charging stations all over the country. So if I have an electric vehicle and I know a particular area floods, I'm not going to keep my vehicle there when places is flooding. I'm not going to go there for charge when the place is already flooded. I will go into another location. So we can't be so stiff in our thinking that we fear doing things that will solve other problems. Electric vehicles could come if they need to be in the country because they will just change the output where carbon dioxide and so on is concerned. And you would reduce the amount of gases that will go out into the atmosphere that we know are causing problems. So flooding shouldn't prevent electric vehicles from coming to Trinidad.
I ain't saying prevent them, but I'm just saying.
Or even lessen or reduce the desire for the vehicles to be here.
Yeah, and the road net. Who wants to? Do I want to bring my electric vehicle and traverse it on these roads that are full of potholes? I mean,
that is your choice. But if you prefer a vehicle that is using fuel like gas or diesel and so on, then bring that vehicle. No, we going into areas here that is a choice that people will have to make.
Anyway.
Or bring no vehicle at all.
Yeah, then you all have to go to bicycles, like what's his name suggested.
No, we could go to high speed, high volume transportation system.
So why I often wonder, why is it Trinidad and Tobago don't have a train system again? Now the population has grown, ballooned, and so many cars on the road. A train system would ease some of that congestion. You don't think so?
Yes, and I just indicated that this matter has been studied so many times, and yet the government has not put out whatever is required. And because they perceive that the people who have been affected in this particular way may be people of the lower class, lower level in the economic ladder.
It would create opportunities for employment along the mom and pop stores that would pop up along the train routes and stuff, and people to maintain the train, maintain the tracks, to operate the train, and you have certain hubs where the taxis can pick them up, and so you get a whole heap of people off the road. But nobody's to me, and we're not putting you on the spot, sir, but all the things seem to tie in. To me, no one in Trinidad and Tobago seems to be thinking progressively. No one seems to be putting forth anything progressively to take the country forward.
I wouldn't say that. I'm
not going after Dr. Allison here.
No. But here's what you're saying. No one. You really can't say no one.
So, Anselm,
Because
in the
there are
past,
people,
anybody bring anything progressive recently
yes,
and put it on the table?
there are people that put in ideas to the table, but the politicians don't want those progressive ideas.
And that is what I meant with no one. When I said no one, no one that have
well,
the power,
you can't say
no
no
one
one
that
when
have
that
the
is not so.
power.
Yeah, you can't say
The
no one.
persons that have the power to do it, none of them seem to be doing it.
But Diana, even if somebody in the Minister of Works bring something to the Minister of Works, and the Minister of Works say, nah, I don't want to do that. Someone within
I tired of he because he and Sinanan and Gonzalez them seem to be a waste of time. Right? So you nothing ain't going, nothing ain't doing, nothing ain't going. Everything none don't work under the two of them. But go ahead.
No, yeah, but I would say that there are people bringing progressive ideas.
Okay, you're bringing progressive ideas, but if the persons who have the power to drop the gavel and say yes, ain't dropping the gavel. So
that's
nothing
what
happening.
I made that point earlier.
That's what he said.
Nothing happening.
No, but that's exactly what he was saying in that, people can bring ideas. He brought ideas to the table, but that's not what they want to do. If they don't want to do it, they ain't doing it.
The population need to take a stance. That's what they need to do.
Well,
go ahead.
I think I actually said that. So Dr. Williams, in the next few minutes that we have,
yes,
what in your estimation as a person who is involved with infrastructure in Trinidad and Tobago, what are 3 things that you see that we can do in Trinidad and Tobago in order to improve maybe the traffic and to improve roads, transportation and roads in Trinidad and Tobago?
There is need for some management concepts. We should stop thinking that everybody should have a vehicle.
Correct is right.
So one way that I would manage that is to tax the purchase of vehicles, to put it out of the reach of some people from an economic standpoint. But simultaneously with that, I will introduce a mass transit system that would allow for not only the people at the lowest rung of the economic ladder, but middle class, upper class, to use the system to get to and from work, to and from school, to and from activities that people become involved with, and treat with that in such a way that it brings an economic balance to the system. If we continue to allow people to buy vehicles and flood the highways with cars, with the same people who are complaining that the highway has too much traffic, we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. So we are creating some of the problems that we experience ourselves. Just as you mentioned with the flooding and so on, some of the problems are created by people. But I'm saying we can't just focus on the problems that the people create. We have to look at it from a broader perspective. We have to look at it from a larger perspective to determine what we should do. Another example is the traffic between Trinidad and Tobago using the ferry. Why should we have to come from Scarborough and go around Dragon's Mouth up into Port of Spain, making the travel between Trinidad and Tobago so long? We could move from Scarborough to somewhere on the north coast, and the boats could make several trips per day rather than this long trip into Port of Spain. And we could build, for example, a tunnel through the Northern Range to get you from North Coast into the East-West corridor. So if you come out in an area like Mount Hope or somewhere in that vicinity, you could travel east You could travel west and you could travel south. And you could have more interaction and more economic activities taking place between Trinidad and Tobago because the journey is now shortened by a significant amount. If it's taking 3 hours between Port of Spain and Scarborough, between the North Coast and Scarborough, it's going to be 1 hour. You know how many trips the one boat could make every day? You know? So there are things that we could do that will impact significantly on our lives, but I don't think that the powers that be are inclined and willing to look at these kinds of actions that will bring resolution to some of the problems we have.
So here's a quick question before you go. Janice James, welcome. Janice James says, we live in a democracy. How can we have a public policy that restricts car ownership to the moneyed class? When I think they said the money class, to the, I would say to the class that can afford.
No, we have policies all the time that restricts in many different ways. Let me use just a basic sample. When cigarette prices go up, the government is deliberately carrying the price up to try to get less people to smoke. And if you're not willing to comply with the higher taxes, higher taxation, then you pay from your pocket and you prevent yourself from getting other things. So there's always a system. The prices that we pay for oil, vehicle, fuel, and so on, that could be a deterrent for some people. We make noise about the changing prices of gas and diesel and so on. And some people will drop out of the system because they cannot afford it. So we're doing that all the time. It's not a new thing.
So Dr. Williams, I want to say that it's a pleasure to have you. We surely like to have you back. This was a wealth of knowledge telling us about infrastructure in Trinidad and Tobago. People need to listen to you more. I need to hear more of you talking about infrastructure in Trinidad and Tobago. What are some of the solutions to infrastructure in Trinidad and Tobago? But as you said, you know, they're not really interested in listening to certain people because that's not for the benefit of the politicians in Trinidad and Tobago. Any closing words before you go?
Well, I want to just say I'm happy that I was able to be on this program with you. The things that we discussed, I think, were relevant to many people. And we have to look forward to see how the government of the day will manage this situation going forward. Because while I understand that the weather that we experienced this year was out of the ordinary, I perceive that we will be remaining in this kind of trend going forward, and it will continue to get worse. So if we start thinking now about how to solve the problem in a significant way, we will be able to overcome some of the challenges and allow people to live their lives comfortably as we go forward. But if we don't, there will be more hazards and there will be more discomfort and weeping and gnashing of teeth of the population in various locations.
Dr. Williams, thank you so very kindly.
You are most welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. We'll be in touch.
Sure.
Care. All right.
Have a good night, folks.
All right, take care.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Doc.
So, folks, there you have it. We're going to go for a quick station identification. Before I go, let me welcome Janice James. Folks, say welcome to Janice James. I don't know if Janice took some other, if Janice is related to Dr. Winsford James or Trevor James or Vanish James, you know, one of the Jameses from Tobago. But welcome, Janice James.
Welcome, Janice. Welcome, Janice.
Yeah. And welcome, Eugene Julian, as Eugene Julian put up a question, but, you know, Dr. Williams left. So, folks, stick and stay. We're going to go for a quick station identification. We'll be right back after this message. It's In the Village with the DAT Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. And before we go, I don't want people holding anything in their hand for Christmas. All right, we'll be right back.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
Of course, that was no other than Kenny J. May his soul rest in peace. Kenny J.
The cock and shame out. The cock and shame out. The mama to cock and shame out. Ay, 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 ay.
No, Diana, please.
Oh, sorry. I thought my mic muted you.
The cork, the man talking about the rum bottle cork. Okay, don't get it twisted, please. Please. Please, don't get it twisted. Oh, God. Well, yes.
What's going on, boy? Where he dig up this song from, huh?
It's in the village of the DAT Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM.
That song, the cork and Gian, or?
Yeah.
Rumba to cork and G.
Kenny J. But all right. So all right. So check this out, right? That was Kenny J. The cork in Shihan, right? That is he talking about the woman had this rum bottle and the cork. But now listen to this next one from Kenny J, right? Kenny J talk about there was some person by him for Christmas. There was a weather situation. All right. Anyway, you know what? Let me let Kenny J come and touch you because I don't want to talk for the man. The fella was our boss. The fella was our boss, and you know we only celebrate people like him when they leave us. You know what I mean? And it's kind of sad. But anyway, Kenny J, you come and tell them. Listen to Kenny J earlier.
Yeah, man. Neighbor, I'm coming through. It's Kenny. Hold your dog. I went by the neighbor to wish a Merry Christmas. I didn't go to stay long. I didn't go for no big brush. As I was leaving, it started raining. You don't have to pull out so quick. Just stay and shelter. I have no umbrella. If you leave now, you will get sick. She tell me to stay inside a little longer. Stay inside a little longer. If you get sick or you can't sing, it's Christmas time. Anywhere you're going, she tell me to stay inside a little longer. Stay inside, stay inside, stay inside a little longer. Oh, one. The sky's overcast now. The breeze started blowing strong. Lightning and thunder. It looked like a big storm. She dropped back the curtain and opened the window because inside was feeling warm. Fruit cake and apple she put on the table and started singing this song. I want you to stay inside a little longer. Stay inside a little longer. If you get sick or you can't sing, it's Christmas time. Anywhere you're going, she tell me to stay inside a little longer. Stay inside, stay inside, stay inside a little longer. She put on soca around a big one from Stranalang. Baron and Scrunta I run crazy and ninja. While the music playing, you could get you end up falling. Enough to tickle your brain. Make glass go empty, she take it from me. And pour an next drink again. And tell me to stay inside a little longer. Stay inside a little longer. If you get sick or you can't sing, it's Christmas time. Anywhere you going, Lord, she tell me to stay inside a little longer. Stay inside, stay inside. I want you to stay inside a little longer. Yeah, man. Oh, Lord. You know you can stay as long as you want. You know how to go now. We don't run nobody, you know.
Watch the FIFA World Cup live on Fox and FS1 with all 64 matches also available in 4K when you add 4K Plus with YouTube TV.
So of course, folks, that's no other than Kenny J. The one Kenny J. But you know, we have to give you one of the best soca parangs for 2022.
He trying to perpetrate an impossible task.
Who's that?
Kenny J.
No, the weather bad and he's just telling you to stay inside. What's wrong with that?
He trying to perpetrate an impossible task. All they done. Go. All they can't go. You can't stay inside longer. You all got to go out there again.
20 people wishing this, eh?
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to a peaceful Christmas, a quiet Christmas. I don't want no row, no way, no how. I don't want no row. Yeah. A Chinese man named Lee, living in the community, live very ignorant. He truculent and arrogant. He argumentative, a sense of privilege. He make it hard to live in we small village every single day. Some way, somehow, this fella does find himself in row. So this Christmas, we don't want no rowdy, spare with the rowdy. This Christmas, we don't want no rowdy, just stay away from me. Yeah, take a vacation. You know what? We go pay for it. Yeah, play a little golf, talk a little cricket, live, take a quarantine. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're a fella, you don't take, man, you don't take. Yes, Lee like a Rottweiler. He could be a lot milder. Listen to me, pal. Try and stop the bacchanal. Every day and night, Lee looking for fight. With all he might, the fella always right. Some say he not too bright. He giving them a fright. He angry like a cow, but Lee always in row. So this Christmas, we don't want no rowdy, spare with the rowdy. This Christmas, we don't want no rowdy, just stay away from we. Give me a little social distance now. A big one, a big distance, like if you started a race. Take a distance. He do really be sick. He gets better very quick. Once he play a little golf with Vivian or Rolf. He never get on ever since he born. He real love the ladies, but don't play babies. The friends he lining with, most of them they with. But I'll tell you now, the man always in row. So this Christmas, we don't want no rowdy, stay with the rowdy. This Christmas, we don't want no rowdy, just stay away from me. But listen, man, I hear you right now. Yeah, I hear some people talking. And it's not just for Christmas, he will be gone for a long time. What we gonna do, boy? He plays so nice. Bye-bye, Mr. B. Mr. B, bye-bye.
No rowdy, 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 no rowdy.
I never see a man get cussed so much for just a song, eh? Yeah, they cuss him. They stink. Call him all kind of name. The man
But
come
like-
from the depths. They say he's this, he's that. Oh God, boy.
I hear y'all getting your wish. I see something spreading where he putting in his bid to become president of Trinidad and Tobago, and he leaving.
Let me be honest with you. I don't know why people just put out
them kind of thing.
Them kind of. Anyway, let me read it. I really don't know why you would put out something like that.
Yeah, and I was like, well, is there any truth to this?
No, but you know what? Let me call Master Brave.
Who?
Master Brave Boy.
Oh Lord.
Master Brave Boy put it on her page. Let me call Master Brave Boy. Of course, I'm calling Master Brave Boy. That's where I get it from. I want to ask a question. I'm calling Master Brave Boy.
Let's see.
Master Brave Boy, you are live on WZYE 95.9 FM. How are you?
I am good. And you?
I am excellent. Of course, we have with us Diana and Tommy as well. How are you doing, Master Brave Boy?
Good evening, Marcel.
Diana. Hi, Tommy and Diana.
Hello.
Good evening.
Marcia.
Good evening to everyone, and good evening to your listening audience.
Yeah, Marcia, we want to take you to task about the story that you put out today. Regarding.
I put out two stories. Which one?
One regarding Dr. Rowley in March will become wanting to become the president of the country, and there will be a new internal election in the PNM. Why should the people believe that there's any possibility to that happening?
I did not speak of internal elections. I don't know of the laws of the PNM. The talk has been circulating for quite a while of his interest in becoming president. And for the longest while, I have been dismissing it, because it sounded like a load of nonsense to me. But the source that revealed that to me today, which is out of Pete Rowley's inner circle, that source is really, really impeccable. That his plan, and along with, in collaboration with the president, the sitting president, Paula Maywitz, that he has some interest in her resigning and he becoming the president because of the level of corruption that is happening in his government. I understand that locally, if he is to become president, it would be impossible for the UNC government, the new government coming in, to bring any kind of litigation against him if he's the president of the republic. So, considering what is happening in the government and the digging up that a new government will come in to do, he is seeking to, for what the source said to me, he is seeking to protect himself that way, right? But this is the same person, and he wants to do it as early as March next year. As to how the PNM goes about choosing another prime minister, I don't know if they have to call an internal election for that. Can't they just select another leader? Can't he decide if he's passing it on? Can he recommend who he wants to pass it on to? Can he, how does it happen? I don't know. I never said there's going to be another internal election. I asked questions as to who will be the next PNM leader, right? But this is the same Pete Rowley that marched up and down as opposition leader when Kamala Prasad was prime minister, and they heard of a plan for Jack Warner to become prime minister and for Kamala to become president. They walked up and down the place talking about, we don't want a politician for president. We don't want a politician for president. And they put pressure, and they brought Anthony Carmona. Right? So he knows it's with such level of shamelessness and hypocrisy, information that I am getting from his inner circle is that he is planning to he wants the president's position. He wants to move on to that, and the basis for it is the level of corruption in his government, and of course the digging up, the inevitable. That's what I'm looking for. The inevitable digging up that the new government will do for no charges or so to be brought against, and he wants to protect himself under the cloak of the presidency. So that's the information that I have, and that source has always given me intel. I am a trained and seasoned journalist. I am not a just thumb. I consider a source for me is someone close to the prime minister. That is what I call a source, a good source, a credible source.
So Marcia, I hope that source is not the same source that said Rowley was going to bust Fitzgerald's show too, eh?
What reason you have to disbelieve that?
I'm just saying.
Rowley, no, I don't think the Guardian is mad.
But why it doesn't make a lot of sense, eh, Marcia?
Uh-huh.
Why it doesn't make a lot of sense? In order for Dr. Rowley to become the president, first of all, he has to resign as the prime minister. He had to give up his seat.
That is the plan. Yes,
but listen to this. But not only that, he has to give up his seat as the MP for Diego Martin West. Right?
Yes.
There has to be now.
Yes, all of that. Yes.
There has to be now a by-election called, right?
Yes.
Which could put the PNM in jeopardy.
Right?
Marcel,
why?
Because
his seat. His seat is a safe seat.
No. He could lose that seat. You forget when he went around Rocky Garcia, he didn't win by a lot. When he went up against Rocky Garcia, he only win by about 100 or 200 votes. Look at that. Don't forget that. And this is why. This don't make a lot of sense to me.
Hold on. That happened during Kamala Mania in 2010. Right, but Kamala came into government, and a lot of what they did was get stink up by the same Pete Rowley and so on. So, is that seat still under that level of threat? I don't think so.
Marcia, in the internal election, only 188 people from his constituency voted for him.
I heard that.
188. So whoever give you that message, tell them to go back and redesign it and come up with something that makes sense, because it just does not make sense. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense to you because you don't know a lot of other things that's going on behind the scenes.
No.
Including the powerful hands abroad that are wielding, including the information that Pierce Robinson, who is PNM, put out about a senior government official who's being questioned in the U.S. for the obscene amount of U.S. money that he has in his bank account. Right? Individual,
and you also took that back, right?
Hold on, that individual is in a lot of trouble. No, that is credible. That is credible. Give it time and you're going to see. Right? That individual is in a lot of trouble with the U.S. authorities. There's a lot of reasons why he has to run from that office of prime minister. And in time, you're going to see.
Marcia, I hear you.
It don't make sense to you now.
No,
Marcia, but in time, you're going to see. Give it time.
I hear you. But there is too many things that have to be done in order for him
It don't matter.
And
That's
not
what
only
happens
that,
if you
but
resign.
Marcia,
Listen to me. If he dies, all those things still have to be done.
yeah,
If he gets sick and have to resign and go, all those things still have to be done.
correct.
If troubling corruption issues over his head that is bringing pressure upon him from abroad, the powerful hands abroad and at home, that too will make him want to run. And all those things have to be done to resign, for there to be a by-election. Why are you talking as though, that is so impossible?
But Marcia,
that's crazy. That's normal in the political scheme of things. That's very normal in the scheme of things.
I will think that. I don't know what is the procedure for if that is going to happen. The prime minister then have to appoint the president, correct? Doesn't the prime minister appoint the president?
Yeah. The process,
yeah, right.
The process that has to take
right.
place
So we'll have to have a new prime minister, and he have to know now whoever is going to be prime minister. Maybe he could. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know if they're going to have a new internal election in the PNM for the political leader. I don't know what the status is. But that prime minister that prime minister now, he has to get the okay from that prime minister. Make him the president. Right? So all right. Suppose somebody come.
And what's so senseless or impossible about that?
No, I'm not saying it's senseless or impossible. I'm just talking about the scenarios. That's all. I'm not talking about.
Listen, Anselm. This is a government that buys boats, parks it up in Shagaramas, leaves it to rot, and then goes and buy more boats. Right? This is the ridiculousness that you are dealing with for a government. Okay, so if you have a man whose mind works like that, and he says that I am the best marketer, I am the best salesman for Trinidad and Tobago, and he buying boats, parking it up in Shagaramas, leaving it to rot to go and buy more boats, and the country is just kind of okay with that, then he will just proceed to do anything. Right? That's not for somebody who can do that. He could decide he wants to step down and appoint or suggest who he wants to be the next prime minister and show that person makes him the president. He can do that. This is someone who buys boats, parks it up in the sea to rot, and then goes and buy more boats. That's the impossibility of this government. That's what we are dealing with. This is the same prime minister that bought a boat for the Tobago Bridge, and there is no Toco Tobago Bridge. It does not exist, but he bought a boat. This is the same person that wrote a book from Mason Hall to Whitehall, and that was not in existence as yet. And he wrote that book before that became a reality. Whitehall was dilapidated. He fixed Whitehall. Listen, he fixed Whitehall to suit the title of his book. To make that a reality, there was no Whitehall, there was Diplomatic Center. With a Diplomatic Center, you didn't need a Whitehall.
Wait, there was no...
The only reason he invested in that was to bring his book to reality, was to not make that book title look stupid.
No.
That's what you're dealing with. That's the level of the...
Let me ask you a question.
Of the man that you are dealing with.
No, let me ask you a question. There was no... Whitehall was created recently? In Trinidad?
He refurbished it not too long ago. Yeah, Whitehall.
But wasn't there always a Whitehall?
Patrick Manning had abandoned it. It was dilapidated and run down and was just...
No, but it was all...
Listen, when Kamala came, she did not give it priority because Manning had left that and built the Diplomatic Center. He had no interest in that Whitehall to be an office of Prime Minister. Again, he left it. Kamala also left it alone and used the Diplomatic Center. Rowley came and he touched it up to suit the title of his book. That's the only reason he fixed it.
No, but I'm hearing you. No.
And put that space down in Laventille that you're always talking about. What is it? Lateral Tours, what's the name of it?
Which one is that?
What's the name of it? You always complaining
Chumakat?
That they're not fixed.
Up in Chumakat?
Chumakat.
Yeah, they're fixing it. No, we don't mind here, boy. They're fixing it, boy. They're fixing it. They're finally fixing it. I back long enough, and they're fixing it now. But
congratulations.
Yeah, they're back long enough. But listen, I wanted to go back to the point with Dr. Rowley. Where Dr. Rowley get from Masonhall to Whitehall is from Laventille to Wall Street. Right? That's where he get that from. I started what's called the Laventille to Wall Street Scholarship Foundation.
Ah, yes, I remember you.
And I want to take full credit. I'm taking credit for the idea for Dr. Rowley from Masonhall to Whitehall came from me, starting from Laventille to Wall Street. And I think
because you're the associate and talk a lot. So
he knew about that. And I want to say this.
That's what he's good at. He's a feeder. Right? He's feeder for you, just like he's feeding off of the country and all kind of thing.
But
that's
listen,
what he is.
I also want to say that from Masonhall to Whitehall, right? I don't want to believe. I don't want to believe that he used that in order to refurbish Whitehall, in order for him to use from Masonhall to Whitehall.
He refurbished. I am telling you, that's what happened. We were following the issues, Anselm. We live here in this country. There was no Whitehall. It did not exist. Patrick Manning abandoned it for whatever reason. He built the diplomatic. Hold on, let me finish. He built the diplomatic center. When Kamala came, she also left Whitehall right there and used the diplomatic center because Manning already put money into that. So the building was just sitting there. But Rowley, he wrote a book from Masonhall to Whitehall, not knowing he's going to win the next election. Right? So when he suddenly get the election through the back door, because 1 minute we saw UNC winning, and next minute it just swing for him. But when it suddenly happened, he went and he built the title of that book when that make no sense. Right? With the Whitehall abandoned. So he went and he fixed it to make the title of his book make sense. Right? That is the kind of self-absorbed individual that Pete Rowley is.
Now, I even though I have my disagreements with things that Rowley does, I don't think, and I never thought, I thought that my thinking was this. He had an experience from Masonhall to the Prime Minister House, which is like the White House, right?
Yeah.
It's like the White House. We call it Whitehall, right? To make it some relevance. And he talked from Masonhall to Whitehall. I don't have any evidence. And I'm just thinking that I would think that more came out from Laventille to Wall Street as opposed to him going from Masonhall to Whitehall in order for him to renovate Whitehall and to give it some significance. That's my thing. I've always thought about that. I just have never said anything about it. But I have always thought about that.
As one who is in the news cycle, following, and as even forget the fact that I'm even a trained journalist. Normal citizens want Facebook, right? Kicking up a fit about that this man took taxpayers' money to construct this building and bring it back beautiful just to make the title of his book relevant. It don't matter where you get the idea from. It don't matter.
I have to be convinced.
And I'm showing you consistencies. They said, you remember one of the red and white boats that took forever to come down from Australia to Trinidad? They said that boat was for the Toco Tobago Bridge. They bought a boat for the Toco Tobago Bridge before there was a Toco Tobago Bridge in existence. There is no such thing as a Toco Tobago route. It does not exist, but they bought a boat for that. There's nothing built, there's nothing in place, but they bought a boat.
What is that boat doing now?
I'm showing you the consistency why it's not impossible to believe what I'm saying.
What is it?
I'm showing you consistency with how he operates.
What is that boat doing now? Where's that boat now?
I wonder if that one was, I can't remember what was the name, was it the Cabo Star? I can't remember that big fancy red and white boat that every week they say it coming next week. You remember that situation? And the boat coming down from Australia forever.
I don't know, Marcel. Look, I just Googled a story here, right? This is September 2018. Rowley Tobago Bridge not feasible.
Huh.
That's building a bridge from Tobago to Scarborough. That's a little different. Yeah, I thought that was a good idea. Bridge from.
I'm thinking about that boat that was coming. It was all over the news media. They said that boat was for the Tobago Toco, for there to be a Tobago Toco route. And there was no port built. There's no port built in Toco as yet. There's nothing. There's no infrastructure in place to accommodate that. And they bought a boat before they could put the infrastructure in place. That is consistent with titling your book From Mason Hall to Whitehall when there was no Whitehall, but you run and build a Whitehall to make your book relevant.
But Marcia, you can't say there was no Whitehall. Perhaps the Whitehall might have been dilapidated, but there was a structure named Whitehall.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You
it had to be a structure named Whitehall. It may not have been upkept, but you can't say there was no Whitehall. He didn't build it from scratch.
I am not Diane. With all due respect to you, I know you're a bright girl, but I'm not dealing with the semantics. The Whitehall would be an active office of the Prime Minister. That's what the title of the book From Mason Hall to Whitehall means, right? When I say there is no Whitehall, I mean it was not an active space used for office of Prime Minister. I'm not talking about something dilapidated. I mean, I'm not engaging in those level of semantics. It did not exist. Okay, it was not functional. It was a dilapidated rundown building that did not exist. It was replaced by the diplomatic center. He came and brought it back to reality just to make his book make sense. That's the reason he did it.
And you know this for a fact.
Yeah, we were following the issues. You have to be following the issues to understand what it is.
Maybe he brought it back, because it was worth bringing back. It's something to, give back to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and perhaps his book just coincided with the refurbishing of the building. You ever thought of that?
It was not a coincidence. No, it was not a coincidence.
Not a coincidence.
You had to be. Okay. No, it was not a coincidence.
I think it's kind of
a coincidence. It was sheer and rank stupidity.
No, Marcia, I think it's kind of reaching, to be honest with you. I think it's kind of reaching to say that, well, I'm gonna go. And to me is that the idea that I got from it.
I think that you have not been following the issues. If you were living here at the time Keith Rowley did that, you will understand what it is.
I follow that issue very well. Just as I follow the Red House, I follow the Prime Minister residence in Tobago. I follow what's it called? Millflowers? Is it called Millflowers?
When you wrote that book, you had this radio station.
No, I didn't.
You started following the issues closely when you had your radio station.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
Right?
No, Marcia. That's absolutely no, Marcia. That's
followed with the same level of interest.
No, Marcia. That's absolutely not true. Here's why.
Okay.
Here's why. Before I had this radio station, I used to be on Power 102. I used to be on 104.7. I used to be on I-95.5. I used to be on 91.9. Right?
What, as a caller?
Yes, an active caller.
Come on, man.
An active caller involved in the politics.
That's not the same thing.
But you have to be involved in the politics of Trinidad and Tobago in order to. You have to be involved in politics in Trinidad and Tobago in order to call the radio station to talk about politics. And the same thing as how we do here. I am still involved in the politics of Trinidad and Tobago. I don't call the radio station as I used to.
I think you should read the comments, because there's a lot of people in your comment section who knows exactly what I'm talking about. That ridiculousness with Keith Rowley's book that Sheila Rampersad helped him write, and she got, what was it, $100,000 or $150,000, some kind of thing like that. She got paid for it, and we were poking fun at her, this journalist on Facebook pretending to be independent, and
she's an editor at the Express, and she is the one edited Pete Rowley book and a journalist. And anyway,
Yeah,
whatever.
but somebody had to edit the
I
book.
remember.
I don't care who edited the book. Somebody had to edit the book. I mean, if
I just mentioned.
yeah, if you get Jesus Christ to edit the book, I mean, somebody had to edit the book. But all I'm saying is that to me, this one with Dr. Rowley being the president, all right, that so much things have to happen for that to happen. So many things. It's not just saying I want to be president, but there is so many other things. Dominoes have to fall.
That is not overreaching, and that is not impossible.
No, nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. But when you put one on one together, you don't get 11, you get 2, right? And if I am just trying to put this together, there is so many other things that have to happen in order for that to happen. I'm not saying it cannot happen.
There is nothing about that situation that confuses me or complexes me or perplexes me in any way. Absolutely nothing about it. All those things that need to happen for him to become the president will just happen.
Could it
just have to go through the process.
Marcia, could it be that because you are and listen to this, right, Marcia? You know what they're gonna say? They'll say I hate Dr. Rowley. I don't hate Dr. Rowley. I do not hate Dr. Rowley. And I will say them that. And
no, I don't think you're a hater, period.
Unless,
because, I mean, you and I were on opposite ends on Facebook, and you were always very respectful.
If it's one thing, thank you so much, Marcia. If it's one thing that has cost me on Facebook, that has called my idiot as a clown, I just call me, I'm from Chumakak, I'm from Chumakak, or Chumak, all kind of thing. I don't cuss them.
Well, I am worse, right? I am an African Grenadian woman supporting the Indian party, who from Grenada, who need to go back to Grenada, who don't know my place, who all kind of things. So I am familiar with the derogatory comments and the berating and the putting down.
But you see, Marcia, even though I have differences with the PNM, I do have differences with the PNM. I do have differences with Rowley and his policies within the PNM. And I'm going to stand up against those policies. But when I look at certain things, like from Mason Hall to Whitehall, and you're telling me that the only reason why he did that is because he wanted to renovate Whitehall, and being that he writing a book, he had to renovate Whitehall in order for his book to be relevant. The way I look at it, he was the prime minister of the country, and the prime minister is Whitehall is significant with the prime minister. That's like how the White House in this country.
No, he was not the prime minister when he wrote the book. He was opposition leader.
What year did he write the book?
He wrote the book before he came into power. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I said.
No, wait. What is the copyright date of the book?
No, I have the book
not
here.
Prime minister.
Let me get it right here.
Get the copyright date of the book.
I'm getting it right here from Mason Hall. I'm getting it right here. Here it is. It's on Amazon. Okay, here it is. Amazon. Hold on.
Because I can write a book 10 years ago, but it ain't published till the other day. That's a different story legally.
He wrote the book before he became prime minister, because Sheila Rampasad, the journalist, was talking about it, because she was the Express journalist that edited and all sorts of things like that.
Okay, so the publication date is February 26th. Publication date is February 26, 2018.
That's the publication date, but he wrote it before. He was talking about it before. There were interviews on it before, long before he became prime minister.
Yeah, but Marcia, you saying you could write a book from Mason Hall to Whitehall before you become prime minister?
I'm telling you, that's what he did. There were interviews on it before 2015.
No, I can't believe
before the 2015 election.
Why
would I lie?
No, I'm not saying that you are lying. All I'm saying that if I am going to write a book,
that is how I'm showing you.
It's like me saying.
I'm telling you, he wrote that book before he became prime minister, Anselm. Right. He was in interviews talking about it before the 2015 election, and we were on Facebook saying, how this man
could be talking a title a book from Mason Hall to Whitehall, and he ain't even win the next election yet, and Whitehall
Well,
don't get a
Marcia, in his defense, he probably put out a vision board because I do that from time to time. It's called a vision board. You put things into the universe that you want to manifest.
You know, Marcia, that makes sense because listen to this, Marcia.
I would use the word presumptuous.
No, Marcia, that makes sense because listen to this. I have a voicemail. Diana will say makes sense. I have a voicemail. When you call me and you don't get me my voicemail, say the future Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago
vision board
will be working on his manifesto. I cannot come to the phone right now, but I'll get back to you as soon as I've completed my manifesto. That makes that. So if he had a vision from Mason Hall to Whitehall, what's wrong with that?
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
No, but wrong with that. That's a good vision. I have the vision, and Diana, thanks for reminding me. That's my voicemail. Even my mother say, why don't take off that voicemail?
Already defending now.
No, we're not defending. No,
I'm not defending. But Marcia, on my profile, I have actor. I have acted in one movie yet. I've acted in some small plays, but I haven't acted in one movie yet. But my goal is to be in the next Black Panther film. One of them. That's my vision board.
Marcia, no one will say to you, Anselm, Wall Street born. What they will say to you is that I hate Dr. Rowley. That's what they will say to you. Right? As a matter of fact, today I have a post on social media. Look at the post on social media today. Look how Rowley have people living in Trinidad, but the people that can't get water in cookery.
In a strong PNM constituent.
People can't get water, and I putting that up on social media, and the Prime Minister.
All the PNM strongholds. I messaged the Prime Minister. You know, this is the first time I have seen that, right? I went to Patrick Manning about burning issues, and the moment I contacted the Prime Minister, something was done. I did the same thing with Kamala Prasad-Bisesa when she was Prime Minister. I called her about an issue at a hospital, and it was rectified immediately. Keith Rowley is the only sitting Prime Minister that I contacted about an issue, and he ain't even fought on it. All he had to do is make a phone call to Marvin Gonzalez and say, make sure you get running water in that area. All a Prime Minister has to do is make a phone call.
Marcia.
He did not even make a phone call.
Marcia, I fighting for...
I'm showing you the nature, as you mentioned that, I'm showing you the nature of the man, that even if people have a negative perception of a Prime Minister, but when you approach a Prime Minister directly about an issue, there is deal with it. You know what I mean? When a citizen approaches them or a journalist or anybody like that, directly they will deal with it. He is the only person that just showed blatantly that he don't care.
But Marcia,
he didn't have to get up and do nothing. But make a phone call and say, "Make there's running water in this area."
Let me just shift the goalpost. I, the number one PNM activist in the world. I call myself that. I the number one PNM activist. You could say what they want. They could talk, jump high, jump low. They could tell me I live in the basement. Actually, I'm in my basement right now, yes? Am I in the basement? Hold up. Sweetheart, is this the basement? Oh, yeah, I accent on the radio program. I have Master Brave on the program. Oh, I shall maybe behave myself. Right. So, Marcia, I, as a PNM supporter, I don't like certain policies of the PNM. And I will go at them. As a matter of fact, the building in Chumaka Clavantil finally getting renovated. And I take full 100% responsibility for that. Because I've been on a 2-year campaign for them to start renovating the building. You know the good thing? I could say this proud. A black contractor get business in order to start doing the work on it. I say a minority contractor get the work to do work on it. Because you know what's the excuse before? No, boy, we can't go up there. It wants to bandit up there and all kind of thing. And up there now, renovating the building. And it have people in Trinidad who just have on the red sunglasses and they've been living under a red stone for years, right? Talking about the red tricks, not red trick, red tricks. But hey, that building now in Chumaka Clavante is in Pleasantville. And I look at the person profile and they're living in San Fernando. I say, she telling me the building in Pleasantville. I said, I living in America. The building in Pleasantville had been renovated, and you saying the building in Pleasantville? You have to come out from under that red rock you living under. No, you have to, right? And they started to renovate the building. And you know, just a few months ago, they put fake news on one of my stories. Listen, little black boy from Chumaka, Clavantel. Them put fake news on my story that they're going to renovate the building, and I get the information from their website. And they put fake news on it. Imagine that. I went to the website and get information from the website showing that they're going to renovate the building. And when I put on social media, they're going to renovate the building, they say, my story is fake news. As a matter of fact, I'll go put that up again. But anyway, I just believe, Marcia, that there are certain things that is. You still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are certain things that we look at because some of us are in opposition, and whenever we look at something, you know, we look at it from a certain type of lenses. And when I look at it from a lens of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And I think in these two situations here, from Mason Hall to Whitehall, right, I really don't think the intention there was, I want to renovate Whitehall. So I go write a book, Mason Hall to Whitehall, so I could make it look good. It could be that even if he started it before, he had a vision to get to Whitehall, and he eventually get to Whitehall, which I think is a good thing. And secondly, I don't think, this is just my opinion, I don't think Rowley is gonna try to be president and finagle his way however he has to in order for him to become president by March. But as you said, we'll have to wait and see.
Wait and see.
I respect for your view on it, but based on other information I have, I don't think it's impossible. And I also believe Pierce Robinson when he says the prime minister, when he spoke about the top government official who was being questioned in the U.S. and at the time
but he didn't point out it was the prime minister though. He didn't point that out.
The only top government official that was in the U.S. at the time was Keith Rowley.
As a matter of fact, you got to go back to one of his posts. He says he never said it was the prime minister.
Yeah, I saw him say that.
He said that.
I saw him.
So he backpedaled, even if he was trying to suggest.
The only top government official that was in the U.S. at the time when he made the post.
Yeah.
And who were questioning why the prime minister was out of the country for so long.
Marcia,
right? It was Keith Rowley.
Somebody have a question for you.
Apart from Pierce Robinson, other sources. Yeah, go ahead.
Eugene Julian, so Marcia, why such a strong dislike for the PM?
Oh,
not just like the prime minister. Believe it or not.
Judy says,
I do not. Let me tell you something, right? Keith Rowley. When I'll give you a story. Some years ago, when I worked at I-95, you remember that big conflict he was in with the Prime Minister Patrick Manning. I was one, and he had all these nasty headlines against him about Wajang, and we can't tolerate that in the cabinet. We couldn't deal with Keith Rowley's personality, right? Is what he said. But I was one of the few journalists who supported Keith Rowley, and I went, and I need genuine support. And I called him. I went to his home in Digger Martin where he lived, and I sat with him for over 4 hours and interviewed him. And he is so easy to talk to and converse with. And I'm talking about in comparison to Kamala Prasad-Bissessar. He is actually an easier person to sit and have a discourse with. He is one of the easiest person there is to talk to, one of the coolest person. That personality as prime minister, I don't know what that is all about, but I know somebody else besides what he shows himself to be as prime minister. I have seen a nice, cool gentleman that is Keith Rowley, even with all the rumors that was going on about him and Anika Guns and Butterfly on Shibak and all this kind of thing. He was very, very decent. When I went to his home and when his wife came home, he said, "This is my wife." And while I was there with him, his daughter came home and he brought me to meet his family. and stuff. And we sat and he told me, he gave me a lot of history about Grenadians coming to Trinidad, and he spoke about his Seventh-day Adventist background. And a nice 4-hour interview. And when I went back to the station, they said to me, we're not running that. We are on Manning's side. And he knew that was going to happen, because when his wife came home, he said, this is Marcia, brave boy, she's a journalist, she works at I-95. He said, she's doing a story on me, and then he changed his words. And he said, she's trying to do a story. Because he knew, he is so versed about how the politics work and how the gamesmanship work. He knew that I was not going to get that story out. He knew nobody was going to publish that in the country. And for me, at that point in time, I was not with the international media and stuff like that. I was just at I-95. And so I said, so then when I went back to the station, they said, and I running that. I can't bring no story to support Pete Rowley or to make him look good. They told me that, right? So I have no hatred whatsoever for the man, even though I come across strong in what I do, right? I am just in the role and position of opponent at this point in time, but I don't hate him at all. I have no hate in my heart for him, honestly speaking.
Marcia, we want to thank you so much for picking up the phone. You know we just do it here in the village up there. We just call people just so, and it was nice enough to pick up.
You find it hard, I find it pause, but you find it hard to believe I don't hate the Prime Minister.
No. Listen. I don't pass hate judgment on nobody.
I am just maybe a brutal opponent, but I don't have any hatred for that man.
No, Marcia, I
have wrote it on Facebook that I sat in Pete Rowley's house and spoke to him. He was a gentleman. He has a very level head on his shoulders. He's one of the coolest persons that I know. I am just in the position of opponent. He is not someone that I have any problems whatsoever reaching out to or anything like that, right? But I don't hate him at all. I have no hatred in my heart for that man.
Right. No. I don't pass hate judgment on nobody.
He's to Begonia, I am Grenadian.
Yeah, I don't pass hate judgment.
That's a kind of kindred spirit right there alone, you know?
Yeah, I don't pass hate judgment on nobody. But Marcia, we want to thank you so much for picking up the phone. Any closing words before you go? So we had to wait till March to see if your prediction comes true.
But that's not how this Prime Minister operates. Anytime you bust his files, he changes course.
Well, you should have hold it till March. You should have put it in. You should have sent it out to cyberspace and let it stay out there. And when March come, you bust it then.
all of us are strategizing. The Guardian. I don't think the Guardian story was a lie about Fitzgerald Hines, to be quite honest. I believe the Guardian got about 2-3 sources of information on that closely, and because that's the kind of person Pete Rowley is. Because you bust him up, he just hold his hand on it, right? But when pressure going to bust pipe, Hines might be gone anyway. Maybe in just a few months from now, or he might just be reassigned. He may not be fired as he wanted to, but he may reassign him. Out of the post.
Fortune top of the hour answer.
So, Marcia, it's always a pleasure. And thank you so much for joining us on such short notice. We appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right.
Good night.
All right. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Oh, why did I do that? Oh,
No,
I actually thought. Yeah, folks, it's in the village with the DAT Triplets and WZYE 95.9 FM. I just don't feel that So here is this. Hear this story, Hear this. This is Dominic Romain from 91.9, right? Hear what he says. Hear what he says. Sometimes you don't know that you don't know, and if they tell you that you don't know, you still don't know that you don't know. Even you don't know that you don't know, and I tell you that you don't know, but you still don't want to know that you don't know. Here it is. Dominic Roman, 91.9 commentator. Anselm Liborn, try advocating for the poor and destitute in the country you have called home for over 40 years. Study where your tax dollars are being spent and on what. It certainly isn't Trinidad and Tobago. See? When you don't know that you don't know.
And
if I tell you that you don't know, you still don't know that you don't know. Tommy, you wanted to say something?
Top of the hour.
All right, let's go for a quick station identification. We'll be right back after this short message. Send the village with the DAT Triplets on WZYE 95.9.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, for Christmas, I know how much people want a little liquor. You want a little lick.
By the way,
yeah.
Do you have anything by Francine?
Yeah. Tommy, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tommy. Thank you very much. I have, definitely, Tommy. Let me get that. Let me get that. Tommy, thanks a lot. I have that sitting here.
Yeah, I was wondering why you ain't play the Bajan girl. You can go out with her.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah. You go out with her?
Yeah, go out with her.
You play it now? No, let me play it now. Hold on. Let me play it now. Tommy, thank you. I had it sitting here. And sometimes things just come up, you know what I mean? Okay, here we go. So, of course, one of our top Calypsonians singing Francine left us. What a sweet voice. What a sweet voice.
Oh Maria, oh Madre mia, Jesus Christ is born. On a window, Madre mia, happy Christmas on Paramo, Sorry, of rising his glory, and then he's coming back soon. If you care for a little food, that's what we found. Oh Maria, oh Madre mia, Jesus Christ is born. On a Christmas day, Madre mia, sing a happy song, paramo, I find it Paranero, nothing is calypso. I come and aguinaldo, this house is mucho. That's what we found. Oh Maria, oh Madre mia, Jesus Christ is born. On a winter day, Madre mia, sing a Christmas song,
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We hope singing Francine rest in peace. A beautiful voice, a beautiful person. Of course, we had there have been reports that we had a bomb threat today at Piarco Airport on a Caribbean airline plane that was going to Tobago, and all the flights were delayed. So we
See, I want to go to sleep, or they want to listen to music. Huh?
Yeah, there was a bomb threat.
Yep, I heard.
In Trinidad, you have a bomb threat, boy.
Everything is just disintegrating. Everything.
I thought the bomb tune used to be played Juve morning.
Yeah. The bomb tune. Yeah. Correct is right. Yeah.
I could didn't raise the prices on Cal now.
$50 more.
Between the yeah, from 150 200 now,
For the ferry?
No, the plane ride.
Oh, the plane ride. I thought the ferry gone up too.
Yeah, it went up too. But I don't know what the increase was.
Well, come on, everything going up these days.
Senior citizens ain't getting the ride free no more?
Seniors over 60 is still free.
It's still free.
I thought they said they're changing that in 2022. 2023.
Oh yeah? How much?
That's what I heard. I know how true that is.
That's what I heard.
Somebody can put in the chat if that's not true.
Yeah.
But they won't get my money on no ferry. I don't like no boat. Nothing.
So these are fast ferries.
What?
Are they fast ferries?
I don't like none on no water. Nothing. And you're on that water too long. 4 hours.
No, it's less than that. It's a nice ride.
I think it's 4 hours.
Let me tell you.
No. It's a fast ferry. It's not that long.
Not that long.
I talking about the ferry now. It ain't far. It more than 3 hours though, right?
Nah. Sometimes it'll be less than that. It's quick, man. Quick.
The nice thing about the ferry.
That's not what I heard. Somebody correct me. I hear it's 4 hours on that boat, that ferry, and don't let the water be choppy.
No.
How long it is on the boat? Somebody tell me now.
On the fast ferry.
So the ferry tickets between Trinidad and Tobago will increase by $25, including for pensioners over 60.
See?
People looking to travel between Trinidad and Tobago will see a $50 increase in flight tickets and a $25 increase in ferry tickets, including for pensioners. Speaking in Parliament on Monday on the 2023 budget, Finance Minister Collinwood said government proposed a $50 increase on Caribbean Airlines flight between Trinidad and Tobago. As a result, one-way flight will increase by $50 from $150 to $200. Meanwhile, Imbut also proposed that ferry tickets between Trinidad and Tobago be increased by $25, including for pensioners over 60. As a result, over 60 passengers will now have to pay $25 one-way, while a standard class one-way ticket will go up from $50 to $75, and a premium cabin ticket one-way will go up from $100 to $150. Imbut said this will result in an increase in CAL's annual revenue of $50 million, which, however, will require a subsidy of over $50 million. Imbut said the increased ferry ticket prices will bring in an additional revenue of $30 million. However, the Sea Bridge will be operating at a loss with a subsidy of $170 million a year. Imbut said these measures will take effect on January 1st, 2023. Happy New Year, Trinidad and Tobago.
They're really sucking it to them, and I don't see them getting up and going marching nowhere. Nowhere.
$25
Watch and see. Huh?
$25 for a pension to take a trip is still small money.
And watch and see. When carnival time come, who gonna put themselves in debt to jump in the streets?
Yeah, but Tommy, they shouldn't have to pay.
We didn't have to pay for a while, but
yeah, but it should have continue not having to pay. Right? Tommy, if you are gonna tax pensioners, boy, and you know what the sad thing is, Tommy, boy? Right? You're going from not paying. Tommy, think about this, right? You don't go to Tobago often, but I want to go for a little vacation, right? I had to take $25 from a little food I could get, a little something I could get, and I'd go and pay. No, oh God, oh government, get them something. At least give the pensioners a little something now. Get them a little
But
something.
Anselm, he get somebody 4% increase the other day, so they can afford it now.
4%. Okay.
And he give somebody 4% increase the other day. Huh?
Yeah, I think he get, no, they didn't get them the sign off on it.
All right, so they get wherever 4%, they can afford anything now.
They have
So
no choice.
suck it to them now.
You know, they also take that and cool it.
I don't know, boy, and I don't see. I'm anxiously looking forward to seeing Carnival. I want to see this Carnival coming up now. I want to see how much revelers they're gonna have. I know I ain't coming in there, not me.
Wait. You asking answers?
Like, see, Eugene said no more than try. No, it's been about 3 hours or so.
Yeah,
And don't let things be rough. And go ahead.
Diana.
Yeah.
Diana, we used to take a boat from Port of Spain to Tobago. You used to leave night at night, and you used to leave 5 a.m. in the morning.
But I wouldn't be on that boat, not
But
I.
I'm just telling you, this is an improvement.
Anselm, that's too long for God.
No. You see,
Anselm,
no. That's not the experience. That is not the experience. People experience. I experienced it. I used to go on a boat from 9 in the night and reach 5 in the morning. And you could tell me now, if I get in a boat.
Wait. So what is it doing? What are they doing on the water so long? They're going Grenada and Barbados too?
But listen, the seas out there was so rough, and them kind of boat they had to go wrong and come back wrong and all kind of thing. Reach 5 in the morning, it's like you're walking, and when you could get in a boat now, and it only taking the last time I was in Trinidad, I just jumped on the boat for the experience. Boy, the boat seemed like a thing. 2 tours in Tobago. Excellent.
I ain't going on no ferry. They could keep that.
No, but you see, that's not the experience then. Yeah,
I don't like boat. I from the shore out to the nylon pool, my stomach woozy. So I ain't going on no boat.
For people who can afford. When we were living in Chumakak, and we going to see we father. If 3 or 4 we go, right? Wherever it goes to the boat, that's what we could afford. So we hop on the boat.
I ain't knocking nobody answer. I'm saying, but me personally, I can't handle the shore to the nylon pool. My stomach will be in a tizzy. So I ain't going on no boat for no 3 hours. I know I gonna be vomiting all the way.
Listen,
so I don't waste my time.
When we used to go on them boat, these have a sliding path. You know? We used to call it like, your figure skating. Because when people vomit in the middle of that boat and you pass and you can't see the vomit, you pops. Okay, folks. So, folks, Judy, Rennie, Eiley, Eugene, Julian, Lana, if you're still there, Rose, Nadia, Albert Montano, Rennie Mohammed, Lana, Ulrich, we see you, Ulrich. We see you, boy. We see you. But you ain't not wrong, boy. You're busy these days. Kapiza, or Kapiza could bring your brother Arjun Singh. That's Kapiza, brother. Ray Stelt, you come in. Ray Stelt Bomber, you come in. Put closing comments in the chat. Right? So I just feel that there are improvements in Trinidad and Tobago. If you could go from 9 to 5 to 3.5 to 3 hours to go from Trinidad to Tobago, I think it's excellent. But I think that they should have a bridge from Trinidad to Tobago.
You take it out my mouth. I was just about, and when you stand in certain part of near the airport, Bonaccord area out there, and you said there's a certain area you can go, you can look and see them, they point out Toko to you. So what is really going on?
Yeah. Time. We had to move on.
And why we're at it, why the people up in Cocorite ain't getting no water and they expect them to pay a water bill too? Huh?
We will play that. No, let me play that tonight because we can't play that on. So, folks, on Tuesday is the talent show. Monday is Diana's birthday. Monday is Diana's 50th birthday. And on Tuesday, we have the talent show for Diana's birthday. So
you make me old, boy, but go ahead.
I thought that was a compliment.
It make me old, boy, but go ahead. Yeah.
I said 50.
Mm.
Yeah. But
Yes.
you can't take the boat to go to Big One and pay $25 then.
Who,
Anyway,
me?
you can't take it anyway because you don't have an ID card.
You don't need an ID card to go on no boat.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. When you go and try to get a ticket, you have to show your ID card.
Please. Okay.
I'm asking you.
Please. When I book with Caribbean Airlines, they see my birth date and they give me my discount. Okay? Good.
Hey, Caribbean Airlines just get discount?
Yes.
What percent?
When you're over a certain age, you get a discount.
What percent?
I ain't sure. I think 10% or something. I ain't sure. Check that out.
Over 60, you get a discount.
Yeah?
You get a discount. Yeah, you do.
What?
You didn't know that, huh?
Eileen go say it's $450 to take the boat to go to Tobago. What $450? Where you get that from? It's $450 to take the boat to go. Could never be $450.
If you're carrying your car, do you have to pay for a car too?
Yeah, maybe if you're carrying your car.
Yeah, but even with your car, it don't cost that much.
Yeah, it don't cost no $450.
It's like $75 for your car.
Yeah, I don't know where you get on.
Is it like per family? How much? So if you go with 4 people in the family, maybe that way come up. I don't know.
I know what you mean. I know. You trying to go in the man brain and know what you mean?
Imagine how expensive it is to travel in your own country. Yeah, Eileen.
No, it's not. It's not $450. We just read that day. We just read it for you there. We just read it. It's gonna cost. It costs 50 increase. So listen, one-way flights will increase from $50 to $150, from $150 to $200. That's at Tobago. $150 to $200. That's one-way flight.
Jesus Lord.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. That, like if you're going Grenada or you're going one of the other neighboring islands. So I guess to go to Barbados, something is more money too.
But Hailey, look, I'm now looking it up. What's wrong with you? Let me look it up right now. I'm looking it up right now.
He said the ferry price went up to $450. Let me say it.
Hold up.
He said, look it up now. Oh gosh, man.
But listen, but think about this. I'm not even going to look it up. As a result, one-way flight will increase by $50 from $150 to $200. If a one-way flight is $200, so a round trip ticket is $400. You go and take the ferry for $450.
And wait, you ain't include VAT there, yeah?
But don't make it make sense now. If a one-way flight is $200, a two-way flight is $400, a round trip ticket is $400, right? You go and take a ferry for $450 when you could just go up in here and come down on a flight
in 15 minutes.
In 15 minutes?
That don't make no sense at all.
And you better come out from another orange rock, you know. I make it make sense now, man. Look, listen to this. Listen to this, right? As a result, over 60 passengers will now have to pay $25 one way, which was free, while a standard one-way ticket will go up from $50 to $75. That's for a senior citizen. And a premium cabin ticket, one way will go from $100 to $150.
Jesus, that's like the same thing going on the plane before.
No, but that's not. It's $300 on the boat. But again, a premium cabin.
I don't give a tail what cabin they gave me. I get up and plane and get done, come out here 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But who needs a cabin for 3 hours?
Yeah, you understand?
You can't sleep in a cabin for 3 hours. That is true, you know. So, folks, of course, we always wish you all the best. You know, we wish everyone a fantabulous weekend as well. It's always good to have everyone in the village. My quote is simply 2 quotes that I always say. You know, your Martin Luther King says your life ends the day we remain silent about things that matter. Frederick Douglass says power concedes not without a demand. It never did and it never would. From where I said this is it, the clock on the wall said that's all I like to say, but I've got to go. Remember, hard work beats talent. When talent does not work hard, for every 60 seconds of anger, you lose 1 minute of happiness. See you. Same WZYE time, same WZYE channel. Folks, don't forget to put closing comments in the chat. Go ahead, Tommy.
Okay, my quote is from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. It says, "It is a fair, even-handed, noble adjustment of things that while there is infection and disease and sorrow, there is nothing in the world so irresistibly contagious as laughter and good humor." Again, a pleasant good night to each and everyone. It's been a pleasure being here in the village. Love you all, and see you at the next edition on Tuesday, which would be our Christmas edition. Until then, Diana, happy birthday on Monday.
Thank you.
Yeah, I already say happy 50th birthday to Diana. She tell me why so old. Go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, well, I was going to end with promoting the talent show on Tuesday. I have a variety of talent lined up, from old to young, the red, white, and the blue and the yellow. They coming in the village to do their thing. So, you know, y'all do what you got to do and get behind your computers, your phones, whatever, so we can take in the talent of Trinidad, Tobago, and other places, I hope, that has to offer. So we'll see y'all on Tuesday. But y'all can humbug me for my birthday Monday, which I waiting for it. Good night, people.
Albert Montano said good night, Anselm, Tommy, till next time. Albert Montano said, remember the days I will pay $12.50 to the Tobago return to go to Tobago races. Yeah, but that was the good old days. Judy said it's cheaper to go Venezuela and
Grenada. Eugene Julian said, closing comment. Life is not a stage. Stop acting. Be yourself. I say so too, Eugene. Be yourself. And who ain't like you, die the business. Rock so.
All right. Well, yeah. So what we going on with tonight, boy?
Something by Francine.
Okay, let me look for something. Yeah, let me look for something by Francine.
We just played Parang Parang. There's another one. Dog does run away. Cat does run away when you're treating them bad.
Francine.
Hey, y'all, for the talent show, I sing in here.
Francine Parang.
I'm singing for the talent show, y'all.
I wonder if this is it. Parang Parang, that's what it's called?
Yeah, I think that's it, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that's I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one you just played. I tell you to play Dog Does Run Away when man cat treating them bad.
No, that's not it.
It's not a Christmassy one, but it's one of her famous songs. And there's one called Hooray, Hooray, Hurrah, something like that. I know, maybe.
That is it. Okay, look it.
Yeah.
All right, that is it here. Yeah, we get that one. Diana, you're getting a Christmas.
Anybody let us shoot for your birthday.
Yeah. Diana, made this show for me tonight. No electric cars. Bring back the train. Good night, everyone. Be safe. Thank you.
All right, he said what?
He said he buying you a leather suit
and a whip.
But I know he ain't running away. He like the abuse from PNF. But he to below the belt, boy.
No, when you like abuse, you just stay and take everything.
When you buy me a leather suit and a whip
for Christmas.
For my birthday? That's good. Mm.
Yeah, you got whip too if you want, you know. You see, if you want a whip too, you can get it.
I could. That's why I live alone. Nobody ever whipping me.
Nobody asks if you're living alone or not. You just asking, the man just asking a question.
No, I don't want no whip from he. Nobody ever whipping me, and I wear no leather suit. Don't mind, I could put on one tonight because it's kind of cold up in this area.
Them youngsters call a car whipping.
Yeah.
So it could be a car you buying here.
Judy says, good night, beloved. Village families, universal blessing. Till next week, stay safe and sound. Thank you very much, Judy.
Same to you, Judy.
Yeah. Hey, Carice, put a closing comment in the chat too as well. I'll go come back and read them.
Born to us, a child was born. Born to us, an ever-loving son. Like a thief in the night, he shone his light. For he met no harm, came to save us from damnation. Hooray, hooray, hoorah, 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 they say. Our Savior is born today. He's born into the light, while the shepherds cry. For the just wouldn't believe their eyes. And when he come on man, you know they're not Christians. Get together and come nails in the hand. But when he turned, he rose again. So you see, he shed his blood for me. This is Caribbean. A child of joy, a man who fought and for sins, the Savior fought and win. See him healing the sick, helping the poor, and things like leprosy, you know our Savior cure. Hooray, hooray, hoorah, 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 they say. Our Savior is born today. It's running through the light, while the shepherds cry, for the just couldn't believe their eyes. And when he come on, man, you know they're non-Christians. Get together and put the empty hands. But on the third day, he rose again. So you see, he shed his blood for me.
And of course, Carrie's closing comment is, have a wonderful night, a safe rest, a restful weekend, and an enjoyable Christmas week. Judy says, Anselm, Diana, and Tommy have a blessed rest night. Rose says, many happy returns.
Thank you, Judy.
Eileen says, peace, love, wisdom, knowledge, and joy to everyone. The season is here to bring us together so the new year can be of blessing. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Rennie says, good night, folks. Keep good. Thank you very much, Rennie. You know, we want to have a peaceful and restful Christmas.
He was conceived, so said and done, all three in one, a truly blessed son. He displayed his own skill and Father's will. So when we are at fault, we know that he loves us still. Ring, ring, hoorah, 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 they say, our Savior is born today.
Let me say welcome to Leon Adams. Leon Adams, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
It's running through the light, while the shepherds cry, for they just couldn't believe their eyes. And when he come on, you know they're not Christians. Get together and found nails in the hands. But on the third day, he rose again. So you see, he shed his blood for we.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
The good book says the time is now. The signs are here. All should kneel and pray. Let's take him at his word, the master says. The time to start is now, beginning on Christmas Day. Ring, ring, hurrah, 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 they sing. Our Savior is born today. It's running for his eyes, while the shepherds cry. But they just couldn't believe the eyes. And when he come, oh man, you know they're not Christians. Get together and come nails in the hands. But on the third day, he rose again. So you see, he shed his blood for me.
This is Caribbean Vibes.